What is up, everybody? Thursday night, great night for a podcast, some news breaking too. Always good stuff going on. You know, that's the one thing. You know, only in sports, I think, can you actually have late breaking news that continuously happens throughout the year. That's the only category I think that keeps up with the great gaming industry. That being said, we got a great panel here. Shout out to everybody here. Instead of me typing it out, say, I see full sweat. What's going on? Gaming Dude, Alfie, Mary Wilcox. Great to see you guys. Mr. Tennis. It's a lot of great people here. Everybody that was here earlier, too. I appreciate Andy Hart. Highlander's here. Jack Knife is here. The Floyd. Guys, please take a second to hit that like button while you're all here. Listen, it's really been a goal, okay? Trying to hit that 500 likes. I don't know. I have no idea. But every time I watch more and more YouTube shows, and, you know, just you go down the rabbit hole of YouTube, they're like, if you'll just hit that like button, everybody will find out about the show. Guys, you are in command of that. I need you guys to hit that like button. It means the world to me. Right above that great description right there, take a look at that. That right there, that's a Nobel Peace Prize waiting to get published. Right above that's the join button. If you guys will hit that button, your name comes up in lights, and you get the green icon in the chat, which is just, it's marvelous. That being said, also hit that like button. Also, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. Your name also will come up in lights. That's the little things that we do here. Quick little advertisement here, like I always do. We will be doing, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys a full stream. Not really fair. May play a little bit off stream, but Tuesday night over on twitch.tv. I know a lot of you guys have been following me. I really appreciate you guys making that move from YouTube to Twitch. Is like me asking you guys to move from California back to New York. It's a tough move, I understand, but if you guys would go over there and follow me there, we're going to be doing Death Stranding 2 as much as I can in its entirety. I plan to do many days straight and just go as I can without schedule getting in the way. That being said, great show we got for you guys tonight. I'm going to go in reverse order here because you guys wanted the crap rant and you guys are going to get one tonight. I will tell you that. Please tweet it out. Let everybody know that we're live here. The great Jimmy Harrison's here. The show is going to be fantastic. Guys, without further ado, you guys already know him. Nib is with us. Nib is back. You know, when news hits like this, I always say, geez, I wonder if Nib would take a week off. Then I said to myself, nah, not when I see how hot he's been on Next. He's absolutely been on fire. He catches everybody's attention. Nib, buddy, great to have you back, buddy. Yeah. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get that kind of reaction from everybody, but maybe it's the scrolling of information that you give out. But Nib, great to have you, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, good. I'm very good. It's been an entertaining few weeks.
Yes.
Gaming, besides like the constant influx of games to play, because I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which has me hooked. I feel like I'm gonna be in a Zimmer frame by the time I finish it. But in addition to that, it's just a constant deluge of news and gaming tidbits, and there's like announcements every other day. It's crazy, isn't it? I don't know what's going on.
It doesn't end, Nib. It doesn't end. But you know what I love, though? Because we have a 5-hour gap between, of course, New York and where you're located over in England. I got to be honest with you. That 5 hours gives me plenty of reading material. So every morning, start with a cup of coffee, and Nib is already 5 tweets in. And I mean, probably 75,000 characters in. It's unbelievable, but I absolutely love it. So, Nib, great to have you, buddy. Can't wait to hear what you got to say. You know, these are one of the great nights. I've got 2 people on the show. One's going to be joining us very shortly. But the great Lord Metroid is here. And now this is somebody that I've known. We talk games. We communicate through generally PlayStation chat or over X, if you will. The great Lord Metroid is joining us, guys. That's at Lord Metroid X if you guys want to start following after or during the show. Lord Metroid, for the first time on CrossFire, buddy, how you doing tonight? Great to have you here.
I'm doing great, Mooch. Thanks for having me. I'm just glad to be here, with this great panel and this great chat, man. There's good people in this chat.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing good. I've been playing Returnal, actually. I only need one more trophy.
Great.
And I get the platinum. I love that game. It's one of the, probably, in my opinion, the best PS5 exclusive.
It really is.
Enough of it.
We talked a lot about that 2020 to 2021 to like 2023, and then it's kind of died off, and now people are looking forward to Saros, I believe, is the new one that's going to be coming out from Housemarque.
Oh, yeah. I'm a beast. I don't mean to brag, but I'm real good in that game, man.
Yeah, I don't ever try to compete against with you there, Lord Metroid. I got the platinum in it, and I had it when it was still that one last trophy that was bugged, but they debugged it, and I was able to get that trophy, so that was fantastic.
What's your main weapon, out of curiosity? Like, what's the meta these days?
Yeah, what is it nowadays, Lord Metroid? Because like I said, I got the platinum back in 21, I believe, or 22, I don't remember.
I'm not sure what the meta is, but I like what is the name of the weapon? It's the purple one that shoots constantly. I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
the name. Yeah,
I
you know which
use-
one
Yeah,
that
I know
one,
what
right?
you mean.
Yeah. But I mean, all the weapons it depends what play style you like. Like, I don't like the spit maw because it's like a shotgun.
No, there's
I
one
like
that's
the one
called
that-
the electro something or another. Is there not?
There's the I'm trying to remember. I haven't played like in a week.
Yeah, jogging my memory here a bit, but
Yeah, my memory. Yeah, but yeah,
That's-
it just anyone played that game is phenomenal. It's just so good. Yeah.
Well, there you go, guys. In the chat, you heard it here first. Shout out to the great. I see if Brian East is here. I see Pat Man Jones. Shout out to Pat Man. Pat Man's here for the Great Crap Gamer, which I don't blame him. Lunchy Sky, Tony the Pony. Great to see everybody here. Love it, boss. You guys are fantastic. Nixie's here too. This is great. All right, let me go right to the Great Death Singer. You guys, I know a lot of people are sitting there with their notepads open, waiting for.
Like a Mooch is the electropylon driver.
That's it.
I remember that.
Thank you. That's the one. That was my claim to fame. Thank you for checking on that. Appreciate that, Lord Metroid. The Great Death Singer, everybody, is with us tonight. Death Singer, I cannot wait until we get to the meat and potatoes tonight, buddy. How you doing this evening?
Oh, I am doing great. This better be a banger. AMD and Xbox making that unified platform. It's gonna be the gift that keeps on giving, and I am here for it.
I can't wait, buddy. I'm here for it too.
Also, seeing Final Fantasy do its thing. I mean, I pray on Square Enix downfall every day. I mean, it's one of those things that will be forever of time because fuck Square. I dropped the hate because Scumcast ended, but it's time I brought the hate back. I let the hate fill me.
Wait, what is the hate about? Like, why do you hate them?
Because Square Enix used to, they've gone away from making their smaller games and they're focusing on their big AAA games. And their best games were their smaller games, like Triangle.
Would you say like Octopath Traveler is a
Octopath Traveler's a banger. Triangle Strategy's a banger. Like these smaller games, they are the hot shit, and they're like, oh, by the way, we're not doing that anymore. We're just gonna focus on these games, and I'm like, well, fuck you. And that's just what it's gonna be. So me and Square have beef, and yeah. There we go.
Well, there you go, Nib. You wanted an answer. You got one. And believe me, I think as the show goes on, I think you'll see chapter 2 and chapter 3 of that hatred coming out from Death Singer. Shout out to the great Matthew. Is it Matthew? Matthew's back in here. It's great to see Matthew Henderson, aka Cousin. Yo, what's up, Matthew? Great to have Matthew with us, buddy. Played a lot of Call of Duty with Matthew back in the day. Shout out to Matt. Appreciate you being here, buddy. The great Dbatch, everybody. Listen, I think that we're still on the same time zone, D. I think we're both East Coast, but we're going to pretend that you're Central, so we keep you here as long as possible. Dbatch is back, everybody. D, great to have you, buddy. I know that you were on fire as well on X this week. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. You got to let me know. Do I sound good?
You sound great.
Okay, I had some difficulties with my mic because I just fired up a DJI mic mini because I'm just tired of having to lower my boom.
Yeah.
And this DJI mic is wireless, just with the magnetic clip on. I can walk around the house. I can do whatever I want while I'm on the podcast.
Oh, that's nice.
It gives me a lot more freedom. Yeah. Trust me. I'll probably do a review on it. It's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. And the new news that came out today with Lisa Su, and what does this mean for backwards compatibility in the future?
Yep.
Like, why are all these guys so excited to be converted into PC gamers? Let's just get on with the show.
Buddy, D, that's what we were saying.
Because I got a lot to say.
Good. I'm glad you do. Please, I want to hear all that you have to say. The great Crap Gamer is with us too. Crap, listen, everyone was like, where's Crap Gamer? Where's Crap Gamer? Constantly, week in, week out. The great Crap Gamer is back with us. Great to have him back here. And everyone's like, listen, I want a crap rant. So you're going to get one. I got news for you. That's why we did it in reverse order tonight. The great Crap is back with us. Crap, great to have you here, as I know that the news has definitely probably bothered you to some degree. I just don't know quite how much it's bothered you, but I can't wait to hear about it. Crap, how you doing tonight?
Good. It's good to be back on the show. Here's the thing with what I saw, like, and I mentioned this. So you have Sarah T-Mobile Bond come out, and she says a bunch of things, but she doesn't say things.
Right.
If you catch what I'm saying, it's like a Rorschach test, right? You guys know what that is? They hold up the blots, and everybody sees something different. Like everywhere on X and all over, everybody's jumping to conclusion that, oh, that means for sure it's this or this or this. And It's just like, for me anyway, like I saw something totally different. To me, it sounds much more like they're just going to do probably Xbox branded PC, a regular console. Yeah, they're gonna do like the handheld, like the Asus thing. They're gonna do cloud gaming. I think they're gonna do all that stuff. I don't think the console is gonna do multiple stores. And there's multiple reasons why I think that. Right, like if you just look at how, and if they did, like people don't understand how expensive that would be because they couldn't subsidize it. So I just thought it was really crappy. So you have all these fans, and you know how Xbox community, myself included, hypes things up to no end, right? We all hype everything up. We hype it up. We hype it up. We've done it for a decade, and then we get let down by it, and this is what's happened again. People think that this next Xbox is going to be some supercomputer that plays every Steam game, every Epic Games game, all your backwards compatibility all in one place, and it's not going to do all that stuff. It's just not. So I know a lot of people don't understand, and I looked into this, how backwards compatibility works with this stuff, right? So you could do hardware backwards compatibility, and you don't need to get any extra licenses or approval for that, right? If you want to do emulation, you can do that, but you can't sell the games without having approval and license agreements and all that kind of stuff. That's why the backwards compatibility program stopped with the original Xbox and Xbox 360 games. A lot of those studios are defunct. A lot of those publishers are gone. You can't, you know what I'm saying? So that was always like, when I saw that rumor today, I knew right away it was fake, because you can't bring these games to people in that way. You know what I mean? Like, you can't sell them to people through emulation. It's not legal. So Microsoft could never in a million years do that. So a lot of people were really kind of jumping on that. It's going to be the definitive platform to do this, this, and this. And it's just like, to me, like, you just got to look into these things and understand the reason why they don't do like the software emulation and didn't do all backwards compatible stuff if it was that easy, right? Like Microsoft could have done every Xbox game, every Xbox 360 game, but you can't take somebody's property and IP and just emulate it and go, here you go, you can use it and sell it. Right. And so there's no reason for Microsoft to do this. And also they have their own way to do this. So why would they hire this small little Xenia group to do it for? Like, that really never made sense. You have and the problem is you have this time where people are really making their name for themselves. Like, I'm not coming down on this guy who supposedly leaked this stuff or whatever. He's allegedly leaked other stuff or whatever. But this, I knew was bullshit right from the start. And, it's just like, it just gets everybody's hopes up, and people are just like super excited about this stuff. Oh, I'm going to be able to play this and this and this. If you listen closely to what Microsoft has said, like, remember when they announced this Ant Online streaming service that went into Game Pass, and it's like retro game service, Mooch, right? It's like, when they announced this, Microsoft said, this is further proving our ability to commitment to backwards compatibility and game preservation. Well, you can only stream these things. You can't even own these games. How is that backwards compatibility or a commitment, you know what I mean, to game preservation if you can't play these games via anywhere else? You can't buy them. You can't, you know what I'm saying? It's only streaming. So Microsoft has this idea, I think, that game streaming is the same thing as backwards compatibility. And so I'm very much like, I have a kind of a worry about this, right? Because they're like, you're going to be able to play all your stuff. So that's my big worry, is like, I've got 1,900 digital games installed, right? Like, I know people, that's a lot. And it's like, I have a lot more. I have tons of physical ones too, hundreds and hundreds of physical games. But it's like, I want to be able to play these games, download these games, and not have to worry about anything else. You know what I'm saying? It's just like with that Asus thing from the showcase, right? When I watched that showcase, Mooch, and they showed that Asus thing or whatever, they're very misleading with that. They're like, play all your games natively, right? I'm like, you can't play your games natively.
Not one.
The only game, not one. I can't play. I think out of all the games that I have on my Xbox, I think when I look, I have something like 67 Play Anywhere titles, because majority of the third party stuff isn't available through Play Anywhere or anything like that, which they're just PC title versions anyway, right? So it's not like, it's not like I just felt like it's very misleading, and the way that they're kind of going with things, in my opinion, is just like they're building up people's hype because they're not saying anything, but they're trying to. You know what I'm saying? It's like she's talking, and she's just talking in circles. I'm sure that Microsoft loves that about her or whatever, because she's not a gamer. She doesn't know anything about video games or consoles or anything. She came from T-Mobile, so her job is to sell product and make money. It's not to, do things for you or me or anything like that. It's to do things for Microsoft. And at the end of the day, when you hear stuff like, oh, AI or whatever, like, AI can be good for things like upscaling and things like that. I think that's cool. But I think Microsoft has a very nefarious idea about AI, and I think it's going to take a lot of people's jobs. That's just like they're already laying off something like 30,000 people over the last year and a half. They're going to do another round of at least 6,000 rumored. You have people in the industry who their job is to be like an artist. They do background art, trees and stuff. Well, guess what? AI can probably do that much quicker and for free. You know what I'm saying? So people don't think that this is gonna, and it's like what happens is it dilutes the product. Like I'm a big Simpsons fan, Mooch, but I really liked the Simpsons when it was hand drawn. It had kind of a soul to it.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying, it looked like the expressions, even the mess ups, like when it looked off model or whatever. That's when it got into the more digital era, it loses something. I'm coming, buddy. But yeah, just for me anyway, I look at this stuff and I'm like, they said a lot without saying anything, and people are just running with this, and it's super unfortunate that's happening. Go ahead, D. Listen, I know you were trying to say something.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm right with you. Now we've been at this for a while. We've been Xbox fans, for a long time. I don't care if people are upset with me now and call me a pony. Like, eat one, because I've been supporting Xbox since day one.
Yep.
So this is not our first rodeo. And they always come out with this PR. Now I'm hip to the game.
That's right.
They're not going to fool me again.
That's right.
And they're jumping ahead of this backwards compatibility thing. All your games are going to come next generation console. Don't worry about it. You're going to get to play all your games.
Don't worry about it. Everything's going to work smoothly, right? They just like the Series X promised a million things.
Yeah, and Crab brings up a good point with the emulation. How are you going to sell the game? Some of these customers some of these companies are out of business, whatever, right? So I kind of figured out what they're going to do. And, I was going to do a video today, to be honest with you. And I said, you know what? I'm coming on Mooch's show. Let me just air my thoughts on it.
I appreciate that, Dave.
And honestly, I think they're going to have definitely two consoles. I think they're going to have a first-party Xbox console. They're definitely going to have one. And they're going to have a third-party Xbox console. Now, when Lisa Su came out today and she's talking about all your games are going to come with you, technically, all of your games this generation that are, considered Xbox games could pretty much go with you next generation because they're all pretty much play anywhere. So technically they could. What about your Xbox 360s and your Xbox One titles and all of these, right? They have a high emphasis on the cloud for the next generation console. And I truly believe that they think, you've been able to play these in the cloud with probably better latency, where it's not, the way it is now, and maybe they'll upgrade the games too, and maybe they'll upgrade the games. Maybe there's less latency, and it's just an improvement. Like the image quality, it's not breaking up, it's not pixelating, so it becomes a bit better. That still doesn't count because people want to play their games natively. So I think that's probably going to be the approach for the third-party boxes. Now, with the Xbox itself, the next generation Xbox, they could, in theory, put a chip in there that handles all the backwards compatibility. So I don't want to rule that out. It's a possibility they could do that. And then, you have some type of dual boot where you can boot into a different form of the Xbox where it has all of the PC stuff and all the PC storefronts. And then if you want the backwards compatibility, you boot into that form, and then you can play all your backwards compatible titles.
The thing about D, let me ask you a quick question.
That with the Xbox, like the real one, like the one that they make, not the third party Xbox one. Go ahead.
No, my question for you is: this is again what me and Dessinger were talking about it, and Lord Metroid before the show, Nib to a certain extent as well. This is the thing. So when you're going after a console market, right? When you're going for that consumer, they just want to plug the box in and play. They don't want to have to go over and look over here. And then is Game Pass still going to be relevant? Because if PC games are on there and I'm buying the game on Steam on my third-party Xbox, am I going to have to pay for online gaming? Well, no, not here. But if you do it over here or you switch over to this, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you do it over here and you do it, this is the thing. We were talking about when you make a console, make the console. Like, make the console, period. No, make it as great as you can, D. But this convolution of back and forth, and again, two different SKUs. If you want this type of Xbox, you go there. You want this type of Xbox, you go over there. And I know the other camp is excited. Anytime they do something and they say it's going to be new, everyone gets excited. I love new tech. That's great. But like realistically speaking, if all these other things, and Detzinger is going to get a chance to come in here because he has a theory on a few things. If you're going to actually do all these things, just if you're that excited about Xbox turning into a PC, just build a PC. Like for everything holy, just go build a PC.
Hey, Mooch, I've been saying this for a while too.
I just want to respond to this real quick before I lose my thoughts on this. What they want to do, and what I believe I think they'll achieve it. Whether or not it'll be successful, I don't know. But it's going to be very simplistic. It's going to be one UI, one type of OS that's across, the ROG Ally, the Xbox PC third party, the regular Xbox, and your PC as well. This UI and OS is going to come to the PC as well for sure. So they're going to have it very, very streamlined. But at the same time, you're pretty much on PC. You're on PC with, the ability possibly to play some of your games backwards compatible or via the cloud. But essentially, you're going to be a PC. And at that point, is it going to make sense to buy this console when you can just outright buy a PC? And once again, this UI. So the whole argument, it's not going to have the UI. It's not going to be the same experience as you get on this console. They're going to release that UI for the PC where I can just boot into the Xbox UI when I boot up my computer, and that's it. It's just the Xbox UI, and I can play all my games, all the storefronts, all that too. So what is the advantage of going to that device? And then I saw some other guys' arguments. They're like, we get to play the PlayStation games and the Xbox games. PlayStation gets the Xbox games day one. And they get the PlayStation games, and they get the third-party money-hatted games that are just on console.
Yeah, they do.
PlayStation gamers are not going to give up their entire catalog. They're just not going to do it. And Sony came out ahead of this because Sony kind of knows what's going on here. They're like, all right, so Microsoft, they're going to try to, pawn off this cloud capability for your backwards compatible titles as being as good as native. And Sony came out and said, listen, we're not focusing on the cloud. We're focusing on power. And the PlayStation 6 is top of the list right now. So that's kind of giving you insight to what Sony is saying.
Yep.
And what they're seeing for the future of Xbox.
Do you think then, when they say your entire library is going to carry forward, you're saying you don't think it's going to play it natively? You think it's going to play those games on the cloud?
I think they're going to have two Xboxes, personally. This is just my analysis of everything and all the information that's out, because we know that they're going to be building third-party boxes. They said plural Xboxes. So the only thing that makes sense to me is that they have an Xbox console that is a traditional Xbox console that they make it, has the same UI interface. It has the PC storefront and all of that, but also has some backwards compatible chip in it that allows you to play all of your backwards compatible games. And then the third-party Xboxes that are, PCs are just going to be able to do it via the cloud. And they're going to put maybe their new cloud chip in there that they have co-engineered with AMD to give you some cloud capabilities and try to tout it as being as good as native. And although cloud has come a long way, and I'll say like NVIDIA's cloud is pretty good, it's still never going to beat native. And you're still never going to want to play Call of Duty in the cloud. I don't care. Maybe 30 years from now, maybe. But now, no, it's just not happening.
See, obviously, it's not really clear. Like everyone has a different opinion. But I was thinking, like, basically, the impression I got is that it essentially will be a PC, but whatever hardware will be in there will be able to brute force a backwards compatibility with everything that's come before, and they may have agreed some sort of licensing terms with third party and with everyone else in order to achieve that on the pre-existing games. And then if you buy new games on your Xbox console, so to speak, it will essentially just be the PC version. But your library will carry forward because it can backwards compatible brute force, what the previous hardware. Because as long as it's more competent and in terms of GPU and everything, then the Series X, it could overcome like the optimization abstract that you get between PC and console. Obviously, the Series X is still a very performant system, so it would have to have quite a lot of grunt. But that's what I was thinking. But again, I don't know. Like it's
I
you're saying cloud, like it could be all sorts of things. I don't know. It could be
I
all
also
manner
I
of.
also I also think it's just going to be the games that are truly like backwards compatible games that don't have a PC counterpart. Because 100% the games that have a PC Play Anywhere version that you own, those ones they're going to let you play and let you play the upgrades for sure. And I think that's what they're more focusing on, because there's been a lot of first-party games this gen, and like they're Play Anywhere, right? They all have PC versions, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of PR mixed in it. But I will say, if they're saying that you will be able to play your catalog,
Yeah,
your previous catalog
your
of games,
existing library will carry forward.
yeah, they're
Uh,
gonna have to offer some type of backwards compatibility, and the only options that they have is not emulation, although it could be done, but like it's frowned upon, right? So I don't see them doing that. So it would either be a backwards compatible chip or the cloud. And once again, I think most of the games have a PC Play Anywhere version. They're just gonna let you play that version.
So the thing for me, like the fundamental sort of like business sort of lucrative aspect of console is the 30% cut from within the ecosystem, right? So obviously, like if you give it up to Steam, you're losing that 30% cut. So how can they maintain that revenue stream with this new strategy that they're employing? And I'm thinking the idea is the kind of new UI and Windows whatever dashboard,
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
want that to be the uniform store across, including PC and console. The console will kind of be a PC, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like
yeah.
the new console hardware, and whether you play on your handheld or whatever, the idea is to kind of popularize this new UI, which will be their essentially PC-based storefront from which they can start getting that 30% cut instead of you going to Steam. And if the integration is good enough and polished enough and performant enough, then and it's the default that the console and the handheld runs on, then that is a way from that for them to kind of ensure that that is the avenue by which people load or buy games. Obviously, I don't know. I have no idea how it's going to run, if it's
My-
actually going to be
That's the
polished
thing.
or
It's
not.
so
Like,
early on.
All right.
I want to introduce Ghost as well. Ghost, welcome to the show, buddy. I know you were running a little bit late. Great to have you here. First time as well on CrossFire. Ghost, welcome to the show, buddy. I didn't know if you wanted to chime in at all. I wanted to get some of the other guys in here because D has a plethora of information, and Death Singer is going to try to combat that stuff. I'm almost positive. I'm not 100% sure. But Ghost, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. I always listen to you, and so and I'm follow a lot of the people here on this panel, and so thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Ghost, any takes on when you saw the breaking news? A lot of people were saying that Xbox came out and did that with the Sarah Bond illustration was really out there after a response from the Sony sit-down that they had with the new CEO, and Herman Hulst was there, and they talked about the future and how they hold PlayStation in high regards. That people thought this was kind of like Xbox wanted to be like, well, we're doing something too. What did you think when you saw the presentation?
Yeah, so I had the same sentiment, right? And I really thought that it was a very knee-jerk or reactive commentary or video. If I may expound upon Nibs' point, like when he asked about like the revenue stream, one of the things that I think that people are kind of missing a small point is, and this is my opinion, is I believe that they're gonna. We already know that there's going to be an increase in Game Pass, but I think it's not to the point where people think it is. I think there's going to be an added tier to Game Pass, and I really believe that once the integration and once whatever these consoles or hybrid PCs or whatever you want to call them are kind of in the mainstream, I believe that there's going to be a tier. They're going to get rid of PC Game Pass. Now, when I say get rid of, they're going to change it from PC Game Pass, and that's where the price increase is going to happen, because it's going to be an all-inclusive, almost a la carte, PC cloud kind of existence. And I don't think it's going to be cheap, because to Nib's point, as how you're going to monetize, especially when you're selling games on Steam or GOG or Epic or however many storefronts are going to be in all this. How will you monetize? Because you effectively take away all those 30% cuts
That's right.
you would ordinarily get. And so I believe that they're going to try to capitalize on a large or maybe a more expensive or bigger or all-encompassing tier of Game Pass, and that's where you'll see that revenue. I guess make up the difference. I guess if that's what you want to say. But as far as the video from Sarah Bond and their response to what Herman Hulst and the other CEO said, I think it was a little knee jerk, and I think it was a little bit reactionary in their stance. And then, of course, you have the breaking news with the emulation and whatnot, which I guess we'll get into. But that's sort of my thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Now, go ahead, D. I want to hear what you have to say, and then I would like to hear what Dustinger's got to say because I know he's got some notes on this as well.
Yeah, just to add to what he was saying there, I don't think Microsoft really gives a damn where they sell these fucking games. Oh, excuse my language.
No, they don't.
I don't think they really. They don't care because they're selling them on PlayStation, they're selling them on Switch, they're selling them in the Steam store, they're selling them in their own store, they're selling them on the Android device. They don't care where you buy their games. And to be fair and objective, Steam is the biggest storefront on PC. So although they would have to give them 20-30%, whatever it is that that Steam takes, the volume that they could possibly move over there outweighs that. It's extra revenue that they wouldn't get otherwise. Because I'm a PC gamer. I play on consoles too. I was a hard Xbox guy, but I've always been a PC guy as well. I've made videos for years. I've always been a PC guy, and on PC. Microsoft has kind of been frowned upon for gaming. Most gamers get their games from the Steam store. They get them from other stores, right? So this UI could bring people into PC that don't want to go to PC because of the complexity, the complex nature that it can be when you drivers and problems and issues. Where you just have this UI, you just boot into it, that's it. It's like a console. That could. I don't know if it'll work, but it could drive a lot of people, a lot of gamers to PC. It could definitely. So I can't like just rule them out. But at the same time, in all honesty, what Microsoft is doing it, and I gotta clap my hands because it's just some brilliant Jedi mind tricks. They are converting pretty much the entire Xbox fan base into PC gamers. At the end of the day, like guys are like, "Oh, I get to play Sony games and I can play all of this stuff." Listen, buddy,
they could have been doing that
already.
right
now. Go get a PC right now. You can play those Sony games.
I don't. That's
PC right now.
That's what I don't understand with the excitement in the Xbox camp. It's a way to say we're killing off the console. I mean, it really is. I know people say, well, no, I'm still going to, but eventually, it's over for the console. And not just that, but I think everybody here has got kids. Like when they want to move from, my kids want to go from like a console to a PC. They want the PC because they want the cool looking PC, right, with all the RGB lights and the fans and everything going crazy. Like they see with their favorite streamers, right? Let's just be honest. It is what it is. So to say, hey, look, guys, I got you something that's a little bit closer to PC gaming. It looks like an Xbox. They're like, I have an Xbox. So again, the appeal to PC is having the PC. So have another closed box, and then I don't know. That sale also goes by me. I don't know.
No, there's a market. There's a market for that because I build a lot of small form factor PCs that are the size of consoles, and they're wickedly powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of people seem to like that.
I'm talking about the aesthetics. The aesthetics of it. If you're just gonna make another box that looks exactly like an Xbox, I mean, certain people.
The question I have
that's one segment of the PC market, though. There is a whole segment that would love to jump into PC.
Sure.
But they're like, it's too complicated,
right?
And this.
But there's but D, you just said it. You're building. Hold on a second. You're saying you're building these things. You're not the only one, right? I mean, everyone's building PC. So if they can go to Dbatch for an equivalent, like Crap just said, they could do that right now. You can go get a compact PC. Everyone does this all the time. Every time there's a new console release, I just built a PC that's as powerful as the PS5, and I did it for $7.87. All right, great, right? So my point being is like it's already out there.
Yeah, it's true. But at the same time, though, like I got to be objective on everything. I'm sorry.
I hear you.
At the same time, the another thing that stops a lot of people from entering into PC is the price, because these small form factor PCs that I'm building are freaking expensive, man. So if they're able to price this right, there is going to be a segment of the market for it. I don't know if it's going to be successful. Let me be a segment.
Just real quick, let me say something. Okay, so if they have a console or whatever and it has PC stores, you can't subsidize that because they're not going to make anything. Like right now, Microsoft has their own store and they make 30% off of third-party game sales, 30% off of third-party microtransaction. Microsoft makes over $1 billion a year on Fortnite microtransactions alone. Think about that, right? They're giving up the microtransactions. They're giving up. They're also people don't realize this. We pay to play online. The Game Pass is more expensive by $10 for console gamers. Are they going to give that up? Because you don't pay to play on a PC. So are they going to give up all their store sales?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Are they going to give up people paying to play online? Are they going to give up? Exactly. So you would have a $800 to $1,000 thing, right? Like, and I think that's like that's a no segment.
Yes, but the people that they're trying to bring over are the Xbox guys now, and the guys that want a
so the guys who have been trained not to buy games but only rely on Game Pass are going to spend $800 to $1,000 on a PC like thing that you can't upgrade. Like I don't know. Like these people are being taught not to spend money on games.
Right. Good point.
You have the access to all these other storefronts that you could get games a little bit cheaper too. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm just telling you.
I have a ton of questions.
The approach they're taking.
I just wanted to say one thing. Like, Dbatch, you're saying like you don't think they care. So I'm just trying to understand. I'm just trying to understand the thought process, because at the moment there's like 40 million people on Steam already, right? PC gamers, and they can already buy Xbox games, right? So masses of PC gamers can already buy Xbox games. Whether they do or don't is another thing, right? So they make a PC like thing, and you're saying you don't think they care if they lose the 30% cut because they'll attract more people to sort of their platform, right? Well, are they going to attract more than 50 million people though? Because 140 million people are already on PC. So you have to attract all the people you already had on console, which is like 35 to 50 million. But then I don't know. I don't know if the same number of people they attract on console, they're going to add to PC gaming, because PC gaming is already sort of a fixed thing that.
Well, first of all, they're going to bring all of these console guys this generation that aren't going to jump to PS6. They're going to bring those guys over to PC, because if they want to go Xbox, that's what they're going. So, they got like 35 million. Let's just be generous and say like 20 million of them go, right? Yeah. So 20 million of them are gonna go over there, right? So that's that. They're also going to have a segment of the market that's always wanted to get into PC. Like I said, they're not going to be the traditional PC head, right? They're not going to be the guy that wants a 5090 and wants to build his own rig. It's a completely different, new, casual segment that they're trying to create. Now, the one thing that screws Microsoft on PC is their whole UI, their whole integration of stuff. Now, if they integrate Steam into this whole, well, it's going to be integrated. So Steam's going to be integrated into this whole UI, and it's a streamlined experience. It'll attract some gamers to perhaps buy some more Xbox games. I don't want to rule that out. Like, I personally think that they're going to be able to sell a lot more games with this new UI. I just question, like, who is going to buy that console, because it's a PC.
Well, the thing is, though, you kind of indeed.
So price is the most important thing on that console. And if that console is $1,000 but gives you great performance, I'm not saying it'll be successful.
So
I'm going to say
I promise. Ghost. I'm going to give you the mic in a second. Real quick, I promised Wooly for the super chat.
They're not selling 10 million.
That's what I'm saying. If that thing's over that price,
what do you think the PlayStation 6 is going to be? Because the PlayStation 6 is going to be.
PlayStation 6, no, it's not. I think they're going to just go regular console.
No, crap. It's not actually.
I reckon $700.
The PlayStation 6 is at the cheapest going to be $800.
No
Nah,
fucking
6,
way.
7, I reckon.
Well,
No
then
way.
don't buy it. Then you're not buying it. You're going to stay on PS5 because that's
No.
what it's going to be.
I don't see them
It's
doing
going to
that.
be a big jump in power. UDNA Zen 6 is a huge, massive jump. And it's
we're
not
still
going to be
3
cheap.
years out
Look-
from that. I mean,
look at what we have on PC now. Look how much everything costs. I'm telling you, look how much the PlayStation 5 Pro costs. You think that the next generation console is going to cost less than the
Well, they
PlayStation 5
admitted-
Pro?
they-
The 97
but the thing is,
TXT
with
is
the
not too
Pro-
badly priced.
with the Pro, they admitted they were just testing that out. They knew they were like, "Hey, we're just going to price this however the enthusiasts will
Listen,
get
the
it. We
days,
don't
of,
really
the
care."
days of cheap consoles is done. It's done. It's going to be
Well,
800
then the days
minimum.
of consoles are done because nobody's
It's not-
going to buy it.
People are going to buy it
Yeah,
because they're
I know.
going to sell it with the games and the improvements and the graphics. And gamers are a fickle group of people.
I just-
And they're
I
like,
just
oh,
think-
shit, I got to get that next new shiny, and they're going to jump on it. Why do people buy all these expensive phones? Why are people buying 5090s and
Well, they're
5070 Ti's?
subsidizing the phones. They're buying contracts.
They're
They're
not
buying
subsidizing those
contracts.
cards.
Yeah, they
They're not
are. They're buying.
subsidizing.
Listen, you can get a
They're
phone
not
just
subsidizing
by locking in.
GPUs.
But
They're not
listen, you're just
subsidizing
buying.
GPUs.
Listen, you're buying when you're buying a new iPhone. Most people are just buying the multi-year contracts that come with the phone,
I
right?
always,
It's like
I
when you
always buy my phone, and I know a lot
listen.
of business
Why
people
wouldn't
that
why
buy
would
their
Sony
phones.
why would Sony miss out on their chance to really just end Xbox once and for all? Which is you put out a box for $4.99, $5.99. You take a loss on it
Do you
initially.
think that in 2027 that they're gonna put out a PlayStation 6 for $4.99? Dude, get off that chrono.
I think absolutely. At the most $5.99. I mean, you can't really
No.
get into that whole like PS3 era of
800,
pricing.
800 minimum. 800 minimum for what you're gonna
Well,
get.
I mean,
It's gonna be, that's gonna be a
I
that's gonna
could
be a bargain for
Hey,
what you
if,
get.
if
It's
they're
gonna be powerful.
subsidizing, if they're subsidizing for $800, then Microsoft not subsidizing would be $1,200, $1,300.
I'm telling you that
That's a good point. That's a good point, though, D.
They're gonna have different SKUs. They're gonna have the Xbox One that'll be like, let's say, $800 to $1,000, and then they're gonna have the third-party one that is more power, more performance for like $1,300, $1,500.
We saw how
I
we
don't
saw
know
how
why
we.
you- I don't know why you guys think that the console prices are
people-
gonna be cheaper. They're
People
not.
bringing up the PS5 Pro don't understand that thing's not selling well. It's already selling way less than the PS. I mean, they put that out as a test
PlayStation
to
5
see.
PlayStation 5 Pro is selling pretty well. What
No,
are you
it's selling
talking
way
about?
less. It's selling way less than the PS4 Pro. Way less.
But
It fell.
not-
It like
not-
fell off
not
the
way
map.
less.
Yeah,
not
it fell,
way
like
less.
you can look it up. It fell off the map completely. Like Sony went out there and was like, "Hey, we're gonna try
That's
this."
not
And the
true.
reason why,
That's
and
not
hey,
true.
the reason why they could sell
Man,
that
pull
for
up the
that
numbers.
was
That's not
partly
true.
Microsoft's fault. They have no competition, right? Microsoft's not trying. Microsoft raised the price. Microsoft raised the price of their platform almost as much as the Pro.
Mooch, Crap, you're gonna be really pissed off when you see the prices of these next consoles, if this is how you feel, because they're not gonna be fucking $4.99, not even close.
I mean, listen, $5.99. No, I'm not saying both of them. I'm saying PlayStation.
Listen, this is what's gonna happen. PlayStation, like I said, I think $799, $800 for the regular PlayStation console. They're also gonna have a handheld. And that handheld, you're going to be able to dock it just like a Switch and put it into your TV. That's going to be their lower, more affordable one. And that might be $499 or it might be $399 or something like that. But a PlayStation 6 costing $499, bro, not happening.
I put the article in there. PS5 Pro sales falling way behind PS4 Pro sales.
Well, that's nice, but it's still not going to be $499. If you see the price of GPUs, of CPUs, of everything on the PC market, you see the price now. How the hell do you think you're going to get a $499 console?
I think people are gouging. I don't think a potato. Listen,
that doesn't play like a potato.
I think we're going to be leaning more into the AI aspect of upscaling. So I don't think you're going to have to do as much as what you possibly think.
3 nanometer processors and stuff. You think that, like, I don't know, I'm not going to argue with this stuff.
Well, no, it's too early. Listen, it's too early to get into that.
We got years to figure it out, but I'm going to say this.
It's pretty far out, but it's not realistic to think that the PlayStation 6 is going to be $499. That's
I do like the idea.
Hey, why not have a discless version of it for $499 if they can?
Well, let me. All right, so Crap and D, you guys posed a good point on both sides of the coin. I got a couple super chats, and I know Ghost, and I want to get Dessinger and Lord Metroid in here. Shout out to Anonymous Boss. Anonymous, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. Everyone says hello right back to you. Wooly, this question I think he said was for D. He says, D, Steam wouldn't work for them. A couple of games a year on Steam is pennies to Microsoft. 30% of third-party sales is needed to sustain a platform. I think we can, and I that was one of the items I believe Nib was also talking about Willie Glinzer says, Microsoft, we can't win console. Let's go handheld. They're doing more than handheld, and I think even PlayStation is going to get involved in the handheld space. Liquid Tada says, if the Series X 2 terabyte is $750, the new Xbox PC is going to be $1,000. That's what Crap was saying as well. Liquid's back, and he says, but PlayStation is not expecting the PS5 Pro to fly off the shelf. That was a conversation we've had multiple weeks on the show. So,
hey, Mooch, the main thing that I was trying to point out was like Sony will still subsidize through subscriptions. You got to pay to play online, through third-party game sales, through microtransactions, all that stuff. They're still getting all that stuff back, so you can sell your console at a loss and make that stuff up because they're making the most profit they've ever made on any PlayStation now.
I right here, I gotta tell you, because I know stuff behind the scenes, none of these manufacturers are ever gonna take a loss at their hardware again. None of them. Not Nintendo, not Sony, not Microsoft. Those days are done.
Well, I mean, Sony at least has the option to subsidize. Microsoft won't if they're including all these other stores. They absolutely cannot.
Yeah, they're kind of taking that away. So
you can't because people aren't going to buy. Like, if you have this Xbox or this thing slapped with an Xbox logo on it, and you see a Steam version of a game for $50,
right,
and the Xbox version is $60 or $70 or $80, like nobody's going to buy the Xbox version, and Microsoft makes nothing. $0 off third-party Steam sales on their platform, right? They make $0 off an Epic game sale. They make $0 off of microtransactions on this. How can you charge to play online? So they're cutting off billions of dollars worth of revenue to allow people to download these other and play these other games on this platform. So there's no way. Like, they're going to have to make. They're not going to take a loss on it. They want to make money on the hardware. Right, they're going to price this thing. And look at what they're doing with Xbox right now, right? Like, because they're saying either buy it or don't. We don't care, right? They raised the price on their consoles. They pulled out of most countries. They don't advertise. They're not doing physical games anymore. That while they're doing physical games for the competition, PlayStation, right? They don't care about their own platforms. They're going to say either buy this shit or don't. $1,200, whatever the price may be, $1,000. Either buy it or don't. We don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Because they don't care about the hardware.
I did check the numbers on the PS5
I agree,
Pro.
Dave.
All right, what do you got, Neb?
Yeah, so he didn't say fallen way behind, so there might have been a bit of confusion. So basically, the only thing he said was PS5 Pro had a really strong start, but has now fallen behind PS4 Pro's pace. The double-digit decline was not to do with the PS5 Pro. It was to do with console sales as a whole compared to the previous year. So that includes Xbox as well. So the double-digit decline was not PS5 Pro related. Maybe that's where Crap got mixed up. But the only thing he said was PS5 Pro has fallen behind PS4's.
Well, it says during its launch month, PS5 Pro units were 12% low, or PS5 Pro were 12% lower than PS4 Pro at launch. The dollar sales were higher because they were charging more money for these.
Yeah, the 12
overall, it's fallen behind.
Is not a lot, though.
Yeah.
So,
overall, falling behind. Yeah. Like, listen, we never got an estimate on how many PS4 Pros sold to begin with.
How much cheaper was the PlayStation 4 Pro compared to this? What, like the
PS4?
Market?
The PS4 Pro was $399. It was $399, wasn't it?
Yeah. Completely different eras, man. Completely
It was.
eras.
But the reason why also was the involvement of the 4K TV. Like, those became extremely cheap, and so people were trying to upgrade for that. And now most people have a 4K, and and the PS5 does 4K,
Pro.
so.
The PS4 Pro is an interesting one because over 25% of all PS5s 4s sold were PS4 Pro. But the reason it's actually much higher than that is because PS4 Pro only started selling midway through the console life cycle. So the fact that it reached almost a third of consumers is actually very strong. So if the PS5 Pro is, approximately 12%, let's just say it goes 20% behind the PS4, that's still actually massive because the console is actually 100% more expensive, almost, pretty much. Actually, it might be more than that when you include the disc drive. So I would still say that is a result for PlayStation and probably does signify that people are willing to spend the money, to be fair.
Yeah, I just want to point out, in my opinion as well, that if Microsoft would have did a mid-gen refresh that was more powerful for, say, $599, Sony would have matched that price for the PS5 Pro. Like, it is what it is. These companies can do that if they want to. It really just depends on, how they want to do things.
I don't exactly. That's the whoa, crap. That's the thing. It wouldn't be $599 because you don't know the boom of all this stuff. Like I'm telling you, it doesn't cost that. The prices of everything have gone up. It's not the same.
Mark Cerny said that the PS5 Pro is actually old tech. There's nothing like super new in that thing, right?
He
it's
didn't
just like
say it's old tech.
CPU.
That's not true. Where do you get your information from?
I watched his video on the PS5 Pro.
First of all, he said that it has RDNA 4 technology that is not even out yet. How the hell is it? It was the first
and the same CPU that the base PS5 had.
Okay, the CPU, sure, but the GPU, no way is it old stuff. It had stuff before PC.
You're telling me you don't think that they could have put that out for any cheaper price?
I can offer some data.
No, they couldn't have. They couldn't have because if anything, they would have.
Yeah, no.
Guys, we do have.
He's right, and I'll give you the facts.
We have a nib here.
PlayStation. In PlayStation's fiscal year 24 report, right? They actually said one of the reasons for the even though operating income was increased year on year, they have bullet points for what decreased operating income and what increased operating income. One of the points that decreased operating income was making losses on the PS5 hardware. And they said, as to the following fiscal year projections, they said they anticipate making less of a loss because they anticipate selling fewer PS5s. So that tells us that they're actually still making a loss on PS5s even now. So that clearly they don't have the margins to work with, and hardware is actually just very expensive.
Let me do this real quick. So there's a lot of talk back and forth there, a lot of good points. That Singer, let me let you go. Then I want to hear what Lord Metroid and Ghost want to kind of combat with their thoughts on this. That Singer, you were very excited before the show. You said these are the things you heard. This is why you're excited. And, we went back and forth, and I questioned why you're excited because you're PC player dominant. So I'm like, why would you care? But that Singer, what did you pick up from the Sarah Bond, if you will say, I don't know if you want to say like, speech or advertisement that they put out?
All right, so I went back to what they said about the ROG Ally. That's where it all stems from, right? Because they're going to unify your library. So they're going to try and unify Steam library with the Xbox library with all your other libraries, which currently is a problem on PC because the only really unified library is GOG. And that's because GOG, you can unify it with your Steam library. You can connect the two. Now, so they need to unify all the storefronts, and they want to do it through this app. So they started with the app, and that app is going to make its way to PC and replace the current app there. And what's going to happen is the console is going to use, I think, off-the-shelf parts rather than custom parts. Now, this is interesting because I don't think you're not getting Steam Store on your console. What you're going to do is, where they're integrating all the libraries, you're going to have a fully integrated library. So let's say I own Resident Evil 9 on Steam, right? On my Xbox, I'll be able to go, well, I got it here, so let me just boot up Resident Evil 9. And I think they're going to do this because you're going to have a unified back end where if a game made for the new Xbox, you no longer will have to port your game to PC. You just make the game for the box, and then it just works on your PC or your
because it's PC.
Because it's all a unified system, right?
Because it's PC.
So now you eliminate all the legwork. You don't have to put extra effort in a PC port because
it's PC.
Right. So this is what they're going to do, and that's what I think they're going to do. Just unify the libraries. You're not going to be able to buy through Steam because on the console, because that one makes sense. But what they'll do is, if you buy a game on Steam, you'll be able to play it on your Xbox. So if you now have multiple options for where you want to get your game. So they'll give you the option, but they won't be like, well, you can buy through our store. No, if you have the box, you'll only be able to buy through Xbox. And I think that's the way they're going to get around it.
Who knows? Maybe that sounds really good, to be honest with you, and it sounds plausible. They also, we don't know, they could possibly make a deal with all these other storefronts and say, we'll sell your copies here. We'll take a little cut. Let's do some business, and they all do business, and they allow you to buy it through the unified store there that has every storefront. I don't know. because if they're allowing you to use have access to your Steam games, at the same time it'd be kind of dumb not to be able to buy said Steam games, right, on the console. That'd be a little extra step that's just not necessary because you're already allowing the games on the console.
Well, I just think it's a byproduct of them unifying the back end because, as they reported, random 360 games and stuff were appearing. I came across this too. Were appearing on the PC app, and people were saying it's because they're playing around unifying the back end. So what I think is what's gonna happen is on PC they want to unify your Steam library with your Xbox library, but because they're using the exact same app and back end on the Xbox. A byproduct of that is your Steam library will be available on the Xbox because you've now unified everything. You make a change here, it affects everything now.
Well, it's a PC.
So, yeah,
you're just setting a flag. You're a PC, so play PC games.
It's got a console skin. It's got a console skin on it, and you could argue, okay, yeah, you're using off-the-shelf parts, but think about how much you save on R&D and stuff where you don't have to do your own custom shit.
I just, not to cut you off, but it's actually not going to be off the shelf parts because Lisa Su came out today and said otherwise. So they're going to be working together. They're all basically going to have some type of MPU in it. So they're going to have that specific Xbox collaboration with AMD APU inside of it. So it's not going to be off the shelves. Also, we already know that it's going to be UDNA. And it's going to be Zen 6, so it's going to still be custom hardware, at least in the traditional Xbox One. But the way that they're talking, it looks like it's also going to be in some form in these third-party ones as well.
And I also think when it comes to the backwards compatible, they are going to do it through the chip. But I think because they already have emulation, right? They already have it on the console. They already have their own emulator. It's already proven and done with. So what they're going to do is just incorporate it into the chip. And then going forward, you'll have access to because your Xbox One games and Series games will always come with you because it's all x86, right? It's all on the same architecture, but the 360 is on the lesser architecture. So emulate it, and it makes sense why they wouldn't work with Xenia because, as Xenia said, it's like they have their own emulator. Why would they need to work with us? Because they have their own official emulator. That the Xenia is just a project for PC. So, I mean, I could just see them incorporating the backwards compatibility that way. So you'll still be able to play your 360 games. And you could probably play them on the cloud, maybe. I mean, you could do that now. Like I was playing Fable. Fable isn't on PC. But I was able to play Fable 2 through xCloud. It was an okay experience, whatever.
So...
yeah,
this was you made a good point. So Brian Easty says, considering how the market was flooded, this is an interesting point when you're thinking about pricing and how people are spending their money right now when it comes to gaming. Considering how the market was flooded with PS5 Pros, the scalpers didn't make money off of it, and there was no artificial sacrifice. He said most people are likely waiting for DS2, Death Stranding 2, or GTA 6 to get their Pro. So, when the price is too high, they'll wait until there's a price drop or there's games that come out that make them enticed enough to make up that buy.
I was watching the sales of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and to be honest with you, the PlayStation 5 Pro sold well. It was selling out. The ones that the scalpers got, they didn't get the regular PlayStation 5 Pros, guys. They got the 30th the 30th anniversary one.
But those are different.
That was scalp. So that was completely different. And I do agree. And I said this before, when GTA 6 comes out, you're going to see everybody and their mama go out and want to get a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, the PS5 Pro is going to blow up. It's going to blow up. It's not coming to PC. It's only going to be on the console. Now, the rumors, and from my sources, whatever, is that the console is going to come out in 2026. Their Xbox 25th anniversary. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out in 2026. Yep.
What version is going to be on the Xbox if the Xbox is a PC and there's not going to be a PC version at launch? That's a question.
That's a great point, D. It's
Also, do they still have to pay
Live and Xbox Live, the PC prices of Game Pass or the console prices of Game Pass? Do they need online? Do they not need online? Like, there's so many questions.
The confusion is
They're
unbelievable.
gonna treat them just like consoles. I'm telling you. I already see the damn PR because they're gonna treat it just like a damn console, and they're gonna dress it up like it's a console. And it's going to be like those Scooby-Doo memes. You take off the mask and it's a freaking PC. That's what they're doing.
I mean,
go ahead.
They're
Let me
converting them to PC.
Let me let Ghost in here. Ghost, go ahead. Say something.
Yeah, and we're operating on the assumption that, and I'm not trying to console war or anything like that, but we're operating on this assumption that when you unify all these storefronts, that the vast majority of, especially as D said, trying to bring over and converting all these Xbox guys to PC gamers, you're now asking them to now buy Steam and Epic Games, and we've seen over and over again just with sales data and stuff like that, and the splits between the consoles. So you're now asking them to not only buy this $800 to $1,200 console or PC hybrid. Game Pass, which let's just say it stays at $20, $240, and then now they have to buy games. I think
that's
I don't
a great point.
Unanswered questions.
Nobody, it is Ghost. Nobody wants to talk about that, Ghost. But that's the thing. Games on Xbox, they don't sell as well as they do on PS5. They don't show those statistics as much as they used to on X. Those used to come out all the time when you had a third party. Like, wait till you see just GTA 6, for example. I mean, it's gonna be, and people go, well, come on, Mooch, it's PS5's killing Xbox. Yeah, but if you go back 5 years ago, everybody told me I was gonna be wrong because they had a $299 console out there. That's why, D, when you say they have two SKUs, we already saw how two SKUs work for Microsoft, right? So that's not necessarily. I think Ghost made a great point. Lord Metroid, real quick, I have super chats here, but I do want to hear what you think about this. You've heard basically everything from what Crap and D were going back and forth on price, and what Death Singer's looking forward to and some of the perks that may come from this. What's your take on all of this news that came out this week?
Yeah, like I was saying, before the show started, I think that Microsoft is trying to overcomplicate this console or whatever hybrid the hell it's going to be. Just make a console, that plays games that I can sit on the couch and call it a day.
Yeah.
This double, platform that they're trying to do, it's going to confuse gamers. Some of them, in my opinion. Like I was saying, my cousin doesn't care about PC. Most of my friends don't play on PC. And they're Xbox fans. They just want a console, just plug it in, call it a day.
That's it.
I don't understand what they're trying to do all this. It makes no sense. And,
that's what I try to remind a lot of people on the panel all the time, because everybody on the panel, a lot of people in the community, they have a PC, they have a PlayStation, they have an Xbox. And they're like, well, Mooch, you don't understand. This is a very simple thing to just navigate through. I understand, and I get that when you're in the gaming community and you have your ear to the ground and you pay attention, it's your favorite hobby. But when you're talking about sales over the course of a generation, and you're talking about casuals that like to pick up a console, go home, plug it in, play Madden, play NBA, play Call of Duty, play Fortnite, whatever it is that they like, Rainbow Six Siege, whatever. They're not going to want to go through all these hoops and two SKUs and which one's better and should I do this and which one has that. Yeah. Oh, there's a Steam store on there. They don't care if there's a Steam store on there.
They don't care about that.
And the one thing, and Nib, you said this when you were arguing with somebody. I shouldn't say arguing. You were having a very great discussion with somebody online, and somebody had done a video, and you're like, they did not mention. I think it was a funny bit that was going back and forth, and the person did not mention that you can play all your Xbox games day one on PlayStation. This is a very simple thing. So whatever PlayStation is going to do moving forward, all these things that we're saying are going to be great about this next Xbox, you can do that on PlayStation. You're not going to have Steam. You won't have Steam, but you have everything else.
Yeah, I made this point. So the thing is, like, one of the benefits of console is closed platform optimization that is as close to the metal as possible. Like, the UI is fat free, it's everything. The OS has all the trimmings, so it's just optimized specifically for gaming and nothing else, right? Obviously, something like the ROG Ally, you can actually load Windows 365 on it. Microsoft 365 on it. You can load bloody Word and all the rest of it. It can do a lot of functionality outside of just gaming things, because the OS is fundamentally Windows 11. And even though Xbox's OS is based on the Windows kernel and core, it is an extremely streamlined and sort of fine-tuned version specifically for gaming use. And again, even though it uses DirectX, the tools are still designed to take advantage of its custom hardware, right? So that is one of the beauties of console gaming, is with the PS5 as well, or PlayStation more specifically. The PS5 is a completely proprietary custom API. It does not use DirectX. It uses, I mean, it can have wrappers and stuff to handle that, but
Yeah,
it
like
is.
Yeah, like my
it is,
cousin. Yeah, it is exactly. You know, just make a streamlined console that
Anyway,
that just play games.
Their API,
Yeah.
literally, even their shader language, is all designed from the ground up to take advantage of their bespoke hardware. That's it. Nothing else. Not to
Exactly.
make
Right.
porting to PC easier, just to maximize the hardware. And I do worry with all this going on with Xbox, are we gonna have more abstract in the way of just maximizing that? And even if it is more performant hardware, because of the way optimization and how they're doing things, is it not going to utilize the hardware as well as the PlayStation 5 is? And I know a lot of fanboys will be like, oh, what are you talking about, blah, blah, blah. But that literally is already happening right now in this generation. The Series X is more performant GPU-wise than the PS5. I know the PS5 has other advantages like, speed and all the rest, like clock speed, blah, blah, blah. And the non-parallelism in the RAM, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not denying that. Even the I/O system and everything like that. But fundamentally, in terms of GPU compute, the Series X is more performant. But because of tools, because of API, because of closer to the metal optimization and everything like that, the PS5 is still competing with it. And oftentimes,
because the PS5 is easier to develop for. That's why.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I do worry that is
less overhead, less bloat.
Exactly.
I'll say this. I hear what you're saying. I'll say this though. I think they're going to be successful with this because they have to be successful with this because that's the one thing
they don't though. D.
No,
they don't.
I hope so.
Hold on.
D, you started.
Hold on. Let me just say this. Let me just get to my point. This is the one thing that plagued them with the handhelds because they were starting to get eaten up by Linux and better performance on the Linux handhelds. People were putting the Steam OS on the handhelds. It was performing better. It was a black eye to Microsoft, and they knew that they had to do something. And so they're going to streamline it towards all devices. So I have no doubt, not even 1% doubt, that the new Xbox PC is going to boot up like a console and boot up fastly. I have no doubt on that.
Sure.
Whether or not they're successful, I don't know.
Okay, well, that's fine.
OS, they're going to get it down pat.
I'll roll with you on that last part there, D. I'm right there with you. I don't have a question about that. But you started off the night saying, and I agreed with you there too. You said, basically they'll sell these games wherever and anywhere, right? Crap said the same thing. We all agree. Care. So if they don't care, it's not like you said this has to work. It doesn't have to work. Their games are going to be bought on PlayStation, Steam, everywhere else. And to be honest with you, some of this money that they'll be losing, like Crap was showing with his examples with Fortnite and other things, that they were making 30% cuts off of these things. Now, if people are going to be playing on their box and buying it on either Epic or playing it over on Steam, they're going to lose that money. They may even lose money now. Ghost made a good point. They've really trained a lot of people that are in their ecosystem to not buy a $70 or $80 game, which, by the way, they've trained them not to do that, and then they're charging $80 for Outer Worlds 2. That's outrageous. And then you have the fact of now, is Game Pass going to lose people? Because now if this is a success like you're saying, and it does do well, and people are going to be buying their games on Steam, well, then they're going to be like, well, why am I paying $25 to Microsoft? And they'll go, I know people listening, they'll go, well, because they can buy their Microsoft games there. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, are you playing all of Microsoft's games every month? Probably not. And they went through dry spells, D. Everyone has short-term memory in the gaming industry. They constantly, 2025, the end of 24 and 25 was great for Game Pass. But does everybody forget what 2020, 2021, 2022? Not great for Game Pass. So you're going to pay $25 a month, and it's going to go up. It's going to go up. Like it is going to go up. So that's why I don't listen. Microsoft, I don't know about this.
Listen, at the end of the day, Microsoft is a software company. Okay?
Absolutely.
And this UI, I'm going to give to them. I don't know if it's going to move that Xbox PC. I don't know. The one thing that I do know is that this UI, this unified UI,
yes,
it's going to allow them to sell more games, and it's going to push PC gaming as a whole forward, so that we're looking at PC differently. Windows gaming PC, Windows gaming OS instead of Steam OS, where you can load in and it's a streamlined experience with all the storefronts.
That's certainly that's definitely
that's their
D.
goal.
D, what you just
That's
said
their
was
goal.
definitely on the PowerPoint they presented to Satya. But when it goes back to what Nib was saying, you have 150 million people. I don't even know the number. How many people are on Steam? You're going to have to take the 30 million they have already right now. They're going to have to try to bring those people. Going from, you hear people all the time on PC say this in the community, D. People who are PC gamers, they're not looking forward to buying a new console. To them, they're playing the most definitive edition of games, and they're happy where they are. So what's this easier storefront?
This new UI. I'll tell you that right now. We're all fucking excited.
We are excited. Not the person who plays Call of Duty 6 times a year.
Everybody
I would say, Mooch.
everybody that's on, no, I gotta say this. Everyone that's on PC has been wanting a streamlined UI where you can boot to all your games. It's just very simplistic. You don't have to do all the other stuff into Windows if you just want to go in gaming. The UI is going to be very, very successful.
Here's the thing, though. Windows sucks as a whole. Windows is garbage.
That's why this is going to make a change. You're just going to boot into this. There's no bloat.
But hold on, but the Xbox UI is garbage.
There's no, but they're changing it. You're not understanding.
I do understand that.
This is a hard, like Microsoft is a software company, and they haven't had a good UI on a console since the Xbox 360.
But now they will, crap.
Crap.
Like,
that's the thing. But now that's the thing.
Until we see the UI, we can't speak on that because we know that the UI is shit.
I get it,
they know their UI is shit. So be fair. Wait till their UI is unveiled and then make a decision.
I get what you're saying, but to me anyway, it's like, and I'm an Xbox guy. And Microsoft is a software company, but the PlayStation 5 UI kicks the shit out of it, just in fluidity and the way that you move.
It does.
Like, how's that? Like, that's a black mark on Microsoft themselves.
It does. Right? And hopefully this all motivates them, all of this combined, to create a great one universal UI.
Also, the big thing is like it would take up more memory to use a more like Windows, just like flat out Windows, and you would have to worry, like, is this thing going to allow people to download aimbots and all the hacks and cheats?
That's the whole thing to this new UI. It's supposed to be less beefy, streamlined.
But also,
they know that.
If it does, like that would kill the experience, I think. Like, would you have to also run like antivirus and a bunch of the other stuff that bogs down PCs as it is?
You wouldn't have to, no, because it's booting into some. It wouldn't have those certain things of PC that you would need to do that, and then it's going to have a situation where you can boot into a different version, and you can have these extensions to do these things. It'll be very seamless. You go into the settings.
But let me just say something.
Reboot into
the Steam OS. Like, I hear people saying, like, if you're on Steam, you love the Steam OS. They're saying this thing kicks the shit out of anything that Microsoft has ever done.
You know why we like the Steam OS? Because there's no bloat. It's just nice, smooth sailing, and that's what they're trying to achieve with this new UI crap.
Yeah, well, but I don't know. Like, I'm very dubious of Microsoft.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, crap.
I'm just saying I'm very dubious of Microsoft because
I am too.
they haven't they could have done a better UI with the start of the Xbox Series, right? I always thought it was a mistake not to do one, right? It's like it lags and it's that thing will load no matter what my internet speed is.
They're doing one now.
Hey, let's hope that this one's not just because they say so. I mean, they say a lot of things. That's the problem with Microsoft.
That's
right?
what I don't get.
Like,
Thank you, crap.
One thing I don't question them on is the UI. I think the UI is going to be nice and streamlined. What I question them on is how you're going to offer your backwards compatibility titles. How are you going to sell these games in these storefronts? How is online going to work? These are the things that I question. Like when you're talking about, you could take your games. Are you talking about the current generation games, or are you talking about the previous generation games? Because you weren't very clear on it. So technically, I could take this generation games forward because they're all play anywhere and they're all have PC versions. So that type of shit I question Microsoft on, and I don't believe their PR talk. When it comes to the software and the UI, I know they're going to nail this because they have to nail this. They have to.
Right, but your main selling point, though, and your main, I guess, capitalization point is this brand new hardware that you're introducing. And I applaud you, D, for being extremely, extremely optimistic and hopeful. You know what I mean? But we're talking about Xbox here, and we're also talking about Microsoft, who let's keep it all the way 100. And like I said, no fanboy stuff, but they're not the most innovative company. Like they're just not. I mean, they have very strong positions in government contracts and very lucrative contracts, and hence they are the powerhouse and they've capitalized on the market as they should. But when it comes to any type of opposition or adversity, that's not their strong suit.
That's right.
I don't know what I don't have a complete optimism on this console. The optimism I have is on the UI. I think the UI is going to be good, and I think it's going to be very streamlined across all devices. That I have the confidence in. The console, I don't have the confidence in. I never said that.
Hey, D, can I ask a question?
Like
Because D,
it's a PC. You're converting people to a PC.
D, can I ask you a question though?
PC.
I want to ask you a question though, because I'm newer to the the PC space, and so when you say you're excited for the UI, you mean that across all. So you're mainly speaking for yourself and your enthusiasm that the Microsoft Store for purchasing games will become much more fluid. Is this what you're saying?
I don't care about the store. I care about the damn UI that I can just boot into my damn PC. All my freaking games are there. I can just play my games and go about my business. Don't have to worry about drivers, the latest update.
But what about the experience? Like but the experience in the store for Microsoft has been abysmal, and that also is a deterrent for people. They would rather go to Steam for that. I know I would. And
they're going to have the option to do it. And I don't think Microsoft gives two shits.
But if you don't care about the other half of it, that's one. It's one thing if you boot it up, but if it's and Deathsinger
more about the OS and the ecosystem than the hardware.
Deathsinger is a big Gabe fan. You know, he loves Gabe Newell and all. Deathsinger, let's be honest. You've said a number of times on air that Microsoft Store. So if they fix the UI and they make it so much more fluid, like D's saying, he's excited. That is one half of it, right? That's part. But you do have to go and buy the game. So if the buying experience and all of that is still abysmal, would you still do your business with Steam?
Well, no, because you would, but I just think like from what they've shown at the app on the RAG Ally, from what they've shown, like they showed you the Steam integration. They showed you could change through the panels. And I think you'll just be able to quick flick into the store, quick flick download, quick flick done. You got a game on Steam. So basically, it's like to stop you from opening 5 different launchers to get access to different games.
Yeah,
like
which I hate.
Like for example, if I want to play Fortnite, I have to open the Epic Games launcher. I have no choice on the matter. Would I prefer to play Fortnite through Steam? Yes, I would, but there's no unification because they're mortal enemies. But
that's
whatever.
Right.
So Xbox could unify all their games into one space, which is potential because then you just open up your Xbox app once you boot up the PC, and then you will have all your games there. You can just flick through the tabs, Steam, Epic, whatever, and just select what you want to play and go, which makes it faster and a smoother experience. Because currently, if you like, for me, for example, I'm like, I really want to play this game. Okay, I'll open Steam, but then I'm like, everyone wants to jump on Fortnite. Great, now I got to open the Epic Games. It's like you just stick it all in one place and make it easier for everyone, please, because there's like 10 different launchers on PC now.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Oh my god, I can't wait for my cousin. My cousin doesn't know nothing about PCs. He only plays on console. He about to call me every 5 minutes to how the hell to use the executable in the damn PC. And I'm about to tell him, bro, I gotta play Mario Kart World. Don't bother me right now. What are we doing?
Well, I got a lot of super chats here that do have questions here. Anonymous Boss, he says, first, how are you doing, D? He says, do you think the next PS6 will be a minimum of $599 or $699? Maybe in the future there will be a PS6 Pro for $800 plus. Well, I think we kind of covered that.
800 minimum.
I can see the one thing that we had said on the show, and crap, I think you were here and D was also on the show back when we talked about whether or not $700 was too much for a Pro. I think a lot of people were thinking maybe what PlayStation was doing with that $700, that $699 price tag is really reading the room. Right now, $700 is out there. I could see them doing the PS6 for a $699, $700 console. If it's subsidized still. And then D, you made a good point. Your counter was, they could have a $399 handheld, right, with PSSR and things like that are able to make that equally as attractive, and it docks and all that other good stuff if you want a weaker and / if you will, cheaper SKU. So we kind of went down that pipe. I think that's great. Mashu, I hope I'm saying it right, says, Crap Gamer, why is the PS5 Pro $800? No way. PS5, or I think you missed PS6, will be cheaper. I don't know if that's. I don't know the price on that.
Listen,
That's,
if you're Sony,
we're a little far for that.
Finish off Microsoft because you're going to get so many. Because people are going to be in for sticker shock when they see if Microsoft is indeed doing this thing with the PC stuff in the PC stores. You can't subsidize it, $1,000, maybe more. Sony can come in at maybe $599, $650, whatever, and steal away what's left of the Xbox users because you're going to get the PlayStation games, the Xbox games. You're going to get more third-party stuff. Right, it's like you'll have access to all that stuff, and at the end of the day, I think like Microsoft won't care. You know what I mean?
They don't care
about their hardware. Like people don't understand that this company does not care about their hardware at all. Right? They don't care. They don't talk about it. Like whenever they talk about growth on Xbox, it's always PC or cloud, never the console. Right. It's like they pull it out. It's like not available anywhere. People all the time from other countries send me pictures of stores. They're like, here, I'm at my local game store. There's 0 Xbox there. There's, they don't sell physical discs anymore. So how are people going to even access this stuff? Look, the Steam machines failed epically. Even the Steam Deck, 3.5 million. What a joke. That thing didn't sell good. So it's like people think like, and I think that people are going to be in for sticker shock when they see this Asus ROG PC thing. It's going to be $800, $900. Like people are going to be shocked by it. Nobody's going to buy it. $799. Nobody's going to buy for the more expensive one. That's how much the Asus is right now.
That's what's going to be.
But this one's got newer. But this one's got newer technology in it.
Yeah, it's going to be the same
price.
Yeah, it's going to be the same price, and they're going to lower the old one. Yeah, that's what they do.
It's the same.
I mean, still $800. You think people like the Asus ROG right now has sold 500,000 units? That's it.
That's
why they're branding it an Xbox to get these guys to buy it.
Yeah, but you're branding it with a brand right now, D, that is declined,
that
right?
People hate,
it's declined.
And nobody cares about.
So it's not exactly like you're branding. You're not branding yourself.
If you have the 35 million to excite 1 million of them to get it, then you sold 1 million.
Sure, you sold 1 million, absolutely. But 1 million, that's not a big number. But yeah, it's 1 million. I'll give you that.
There's not a the handheld market on PC. It's so convoluted. You got so many different ones.
Oh, there's a ton. Yeah.
I don't know the actual number if you add them all up. I guess that would probably be a better way to look at it.
They said it was under 10 million. There was an article about it. If you add up all the PC handhelds, it was like 10 million units total. I mean, that's
the issue is Nintendo has dominated the dedicated.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
1989, and ain't about to change. So come out with all your PC handhelds.
Listen, that's why exclusives matter, man.
Absolutely right. They have the wall garden. You buy their games there. If you want to, sell the high seas like that's in there. That's fine. But that's what Nintendo. That's what Nintendo is. You get their handheld. You play the games there. That's it. Yeah.
I'll say this. The reason why the handheld PCs haven't done well is once again because most of the PC handhelds are not Steam Decks. Most of them are like Rogue Allies and
right.
the Legion Goes and stuff, right? And the problem with those is the OS. The Windows OS is like, I have a Rogue Ally. That thing is all like, okay, when you're playing your games, it's an awesome system, and the Rogue settings that you can change, the FPS and put on VRS and all that crap, fantastic. But the Windows part of it is freaking trash,
horrible,
and trying to navigate around that, and and it's awful.
I ended up
really bad. Yeah.
I ended up selling mine. I just stuck with the Steam Deck because it was so fluent. Go ahead, Ghost.
But then how come the Steam Deck hasn't sold more though?
Hold on a second.
The power.
The reason these handhelds haven't did well is because of price, guys. I mean, we're talking about $800, $900 handheld that, while impressive and have you have access to your Steam library or your PC library, they're still handhelds. And let's just be 100% honest. Like most of the people that are buying these, right? Some of you travel extensively. But most people are sitting right there on their couch or in their bed playing these. Right next to your console, right next to your damn PC. Like, let's stop it. Like, let's stop this.
Yeah, crap.
Like, the thing is, these were some of the same dudes that were complaining that the Switch 2 was too expensive. And now these handhelds, they're going to be so expensive if no one's going to buy it.
Less than 10%. Less than 10% of the pictures.
Guys that buy it.
Less than 10% of the pictures we see in the community of people taking pictures with their handhelds. They're always on their couch. You can almost see their router right next to them. They're like, well, I can't believe how great this thing's performing. You don't say.
You can hardly see the input lag, Mooch.
I know.
I think the problem is Dbatch has too much money, dude. He's like,
I'm camping right now, guys. Look at my handheld. Stop it. That's your green screen.
That's right.
and like $20,000 bloody consoles or something.
Right.
The Rock Ally X.
Point,
I could. Oh, go ahead.
And to D's point, like, you know, when or I think it was Metroid, my man Metroid, he was talking about how people are pulling out of certain regions. I'm really interested to see with Xbox's struggles worldwide, not necessarily in the States, with this new handheld, how that will fare in your other territories. I'm sure if it launches and it's successful and the UI is upgraded and integration is smooth, okay. Xbox's really biggest Achilles heel is their marketing worldwide.
Yeah.
They do a horrible job of it.
Yeah, they do.
And so, you know, you want to make encroachments in China and in Japan and in Middle Eastern countries and India, and you have zero presence there. So essentially, you're now going to try to sell a PC hybrid for whatever the cost, $800, $1,200, whatever the price may, to regions that your console is even in.
Yeah.
I find it odd.
This puts another point. Right? Just because you have the most money, that doesn't mean you know how to use the resources well. Xbox marketing is awful, and Sony and Nintendo with less resources are better than they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's terrible because, listen, like Microsoft thinks, okay, well, nobody buys an Xbox in Japan, but what if we do this PC thing or cloud thing? But people associate Xbox with garbage over there. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of places. So you have this thing and it's Xbox branded, which isn't a good brand right now. People have little faith in it, and rightfully so, because you have just like listen, I was a big Sega fanatic back in the day, right? But there came a point where they keep releasing stuff and then not supporting it and changing direction, right? They're like, here's a Genesis. Now here's a 32X, you spend more money. Then here's a Sega CD, and here's a Sega Nomad, and here's a Sega, Saturn. It's like all this stuff comes without one year, next year. It's like, and then they drop support of stuff, and Microsoft kind of does
Sega
that
Saturn
thing.
CD add-on.
I got it right here. I got it right here.
Yeah, and then so what happened to Sega is, by the time they got everything right with the Dreamcast, which is like one of my favorite all-time consoles, nobody cared anymore because they didn't trust Sega, right? And so that's basically kind of what happened. I mean, obviously it was underpowered, didn't have DVD player, and things like that. But the same thing is happening to Xbox, right? Like Xbox One started off really good. People hated it at first, but they had good games and stuff. And then midway through the generation, they just stopped making games, like. And fire and canceled a bunch of games and closed a bunch of studios. They gave up in the middle of a generation and then switched, and they're like, we're going to put everything on PC day one, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to switch again. We're going to do Game Pass. And then Game Pass, then they switched that. They're like, well, everything on Game Pass day one. And then this generation, we bought Bethesda to make sure that Xbox, that Game Pass has exclusive games wherever Game Pass exists. And then, a year later, nope, we changed that. It's like they changed direction so fast. It's like you can't believe anything. That's why, like, I find no matter what they say, it's dubious. Because just a year ago, they were saying just 4 games, not everything's coming, right? And a year before that, they were saying we bought these things to give exclusives for Game Pass because exclusive. You can see Phil Spencer's quotes. We want to give Xbox fans a better expectation of, than having to worry about is this game going here or there. I believe that exclusive content is important, right? He said this. All this stuff is on record, So why would we believe anything?
That's what I'm saying.
Point? Like I'm kind of.
I don't understand why every time they announce something, every time there's an announcement from Xbox, the same folks are just so excited to get up and be like, well, there it is. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what we've been waiting for. We also have, if we lost our way with Halo, we lost our way with Xbox. This is from Windows Central. I believe it was today. Halo Infinite's best team of Community Forge creators is leaving the game, citing a, in quotes, lack of support from Halo Studios. Now, I know they're probably going to do like a Halo Master Chief Collection, or maybe even Combat Evolved for PlayStation, and do a big thing next year for the 25th year. But like at the same time, it's like
new Halo. New Halo.
Oh, well, I hope so. We'll see how that one does, because I had people on this show, a lot of people in the know on the show too, being like, Mooch, just wait. It's a 10-year plan, okay? Halo Infinite's going to go on forever and ever and ever. Yeah, it went on for about 3 months. So, like, and I'm not talking about the polished multiplayer. I'm talking about the big, empty, vast campaign that I told everybody about. And they were like, come on, Mooch, just calm down, relax. It's all going to get there. It never got there. So I hope they have something coming down the pipe.
I think holidays when you're going to, because Gears is what, August? When is
Gears is August 28th or 29th, something like that,
yeah. So I believe in the fall. In the fall, you're going to see the Halo stuff. They're going to introduce the PlayStation fans to the Halo. And then they're going to release a new Halo next year.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to reboot. They're probably going to reboot the sucker.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to launch it and everything. Listen, this is the plan. And, you know, people could like it or hate it, whatever. But this is what they're doing. They're converting Xbox gamers over to PC. They want to be focused on PC.
Absolutely.
They want you to be
Absolutely.
in their PC ecosystem.
Yep.
And that's just it. That they don't care about the hardware so much as they care about getting you into the PC ecosystem. And the way that they're going to do that, the Trojan horse, is that next Xbox console.
Yeah.
They're just gonna put lipstick on it, and dress it up real nice.
Yeah.
And tell you that it's a
So
console,
real
but it's actually
real quick. A lot of people who podcast know. Shout out to Aaron, who's in the chat. Aaron, who is a big Xbox fan, but then at the beginning, when Xbox started falling off, he said, "Mooch, don't say I'm an Xbox fan. I'm a Nintendo fan." So now he's a Nintendo fan. I just want to clarify so everybody knows his resume. Aaron says to me, "Why are we so desperate to bash Xbox? We're talking about Halo." Aaron, it was an article from Windows Central today, Aaron. So I know you don't like to hear these things, but it was in the news today. So, and he's, by the way, I don't know why you care. You're a Nintendo fan, right? So
Gears of War did horrible, by the way.
He doesn't want to update
it did
his
terrible.
resume.
He's got to update his resume, Nib. Yeah.
What do you mean Gears of War did terrible? What do you mean?
Nobody was playing it.
Yeah, I was going to touch on, crap you were saying about the
it's got a lot of pre-orders though
all the time, right?
No, listen, here's the thing. You had to pre-order for PlayStation to get it doesn't mean that they're going to buy it. I mean, here's the thing. When you see, all these articles are running, this Xbox game is dominating pre-orders. I mean, that thing could have 20,000 pre-orders and that's it, right? It doesn't mean it's dominating. It just means that there's not a lot of other stuff out there right now to pre-order. Plus, it's a little bit cheaper. People are maybe curious. I think Gears of War is going to do initially decent. But if you look at it, it had topped out at 1,200 people on Steam. There was hardly anybody on it on Xbox. I don't know about PlayStation because I didn't bother to mess with it there. But if you look at the Gears 1 play, it's very old school, right? It plays slow. And it's you know what I'm saying? It's to me, I think I understand what Microsoft is doing there. Just like when Halo goes to PlayStation, I think the curiosity will make it do well. Look at Halo Infinite. It did well initially on PC, right? Was it 250,000 users? Pretty good. And then it fell off a cliff, right? I think the same thing's going to happen because where are you going to get the players to sustain the life of the multiplayer for these games on PlayStation, right? They're coming from all these other games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, fast-paced moving games, and Halo and Gears aren't fast-paced games. They're going to try them initially for sure, and then they're going to be like, okay, this isn't my bag.
That's it.
And they're going to go back and play the other games, the Fortnites.
I'll say this, maybe Nibs can pull up the numbers on this, but their games are actually doing really well on PlayStation, to be honest with you. And maybe PlayStation guys don't play the multiplayer a lot, or maybe they're not interested in the multiplayer, but many are going to be interested in the story. Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5 is selling.
That's the only. That's literally the only one. That and Sea of Thieves. And Sea of Thieves is much lower.
Yeah.
And then
they said 2 million.
But if you remember,
If
you remember, Sea of Thieves topped the sales charts. Some of the other games topped the sales charts, but then when the official numbers came out, they were
very low.
Yeah.
So to Crap's point, he's right. There's nothing really out that's coming out of notoriety from PlayStation. So 20, 30, 50,000, 100,000, that will top any sales chart, especially if there's nothing else coming out right now.
Right.
Yeah, well, we saw factually Hi-Fi Rush bombed, Pentiment bombed, Grounded bombed, the 2 RTSs bombed, Indiana Jones bombed, even the new Doom completely tanked
Didn't do well at all.
on PlayStation. Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
hang on a minute.
But these
What the hell
games
are you
also
talking
bombed on
about?
Xbox too.
Right.
They just bombed.
Yeah.
Period.
They did.
Right.
I know they did. And
That's
hey,
it.
listen,
And
Indiana
D,
Jones was my favorite game last year.
I'm
I
glad.
love that game.
Crap, I'm glad D said what he said because everyone's like, well, you know what? People look at just the sheer amount of games. That's fine, but you have to look at the quality of games. And I will say, Indiana Jones, that's a good quality game. This is probably one of the least liked games that I've played myself. I'm not speaking for everybody else. Speaking of the Doom series, didn't really care for this one either. I actually liked Doom Eternal better than this last one. And
I didn't even bother to download
it's just
because
it wasn't. It was just very blah. It wasn't very good at all. And when you look at the game, so there's a lot of stuff that went in the Game Pass. I don't think South of Midnight did very well in the Xbox world on the downloads. So that didn't do well. And so when people are like, well, Mooch, this was the year. Like, come on, how can you argue it's the greatest value in gaming? Again, value's in the eye of the beholder. Just because I throw a lot of stuff at you,
I thought it was decent. I
didn't play it. I'm only talking about the numbers on the download numbers were not there.
It's marketing.
Yeah.
These games, because honestly, tell you,
quick,
Indiana Jones is good.
Go ahead, Ghost. What were you saying?
I'm sorry. Hey, I appreciate you. The redfish are running right now. I appreciate you having me on here.
No problem, Ghost.
But the redfish are running, and I'm trying to bag me about 4 or 5 of them before the game warden comes out here. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Always, Ghost.
But I'm gonna take this boat out, and like I said, the redfish are running.
All right, Ghost. We'll have you back on the show when you're on land, buddy. Great to have you back.
Sir.
We'd love to have you back, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ghost. No, go ahead, D.
All right.
Yeah, I was saying the games, to be honest with you, they've been quality games. Like even South of Midnight.
Yeah, they're good games.
Visually, it was fantastic.
But they're not hitting with the audience for some reason.
It's once again, it's their marketing. Their marketing is trash. Like
It's
Indiana
trash.
Jones. I
That's
know
exactly what it
people.
is.
I
Yeah.
know a lot of people that wanted to get a Xbox. They were going to get an Xbox for Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
Indiana Jones announcement came. Oh, it's coming to PlayStation.
Mhm.
They were like, oh, forget it. I'm just going to get it on PlayStation. And it kind of killed a lot of the hype for that game for people that were going to pick up an Xbox for it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, so it killed the hype for people that wanted to pick up an Xbox for it. It just kind of killed the hype for it completely. And once again, the marketing, like that game had, was fantastic. And, even on PC with the path tracing and stuff. And you're not taking advantage of doing all of the marketing. I think one of the biggest problems with Xbox is definitely their marketing. Like Sony doesn't even need to do anything for their marketing.
I think what it might be though, and this ties into what Crap was saying and what Daniel from Game Industry Biz said a few weeks ago on Mooch's podcast. So he was saying basically the issue is like one of the most important things for any platform, any product, any brand is brand identity, right? Like you need to stand for something. Yeah, you need an image, you need a specific thing, you need a focal point, you need something that people can reliably say, this is why I go to this platform, right?
What's an Xbox?
Yeah, maybe PlayStation is like
everything's an
HBO
Xbox
gaming.
and nothing's an Xbox.
That's right.
No,
My mom's an Xbox.
Exactly. So they have, and it's not just the marketing to that end. Like, how many pivots have we had from 360 tail end went into Kinect, then you got DRM digital only future, then you got Kinect pack in, and then you've got the mixed SKU now, and now you've got a hybrid PC. Like it's then you had the PC focus, then you had the Game Pass focus. It's like constantly there's like a new pivot or a new thing and I think maybe like mass consumers as a whole, they kind of like don't have confidence in the brand or where it's going to go next, what it's going to do, what the focus is. And there is sort of like a carefree ease to just know, okay, I buy a Switch, I'm going to get Nintendo ass exclusives. Awesome. High quality Nintendo ass exclusives. If I buy a PlayStation, I'm going to get all my multi-platform stuff, but I'm also going to get that HBO gaming, cinematic kind of big blockbuster production games. So if that's my forte, that's where I'm going to go. And I think with Xbox, like even with the IP and everything, there's been a bit dilly-dallying. They've let some of their stronger IPs in the past kind of fall to the wayside instead of reinvigorating them, rebooting them, like sort of PlayStation did with God of War, Nintendo did with Breath of the Wild, Capcom did with Resident Evil 7, etc. They just don't have that, and I do think that brand identity thing is affecting them.
Mark my words, Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be nominated for Game of the Year. It's going to be one of the candidates.
Game looks good for sure.
It looks
will
amazing.
over Expedition 33. I don't know, man.
Oh, that one too.
it's-
That's all right. But
it's-
Donkey Kong too. Yeah.
It's not gonna
So,
win.
so anyway, like to my point earlier about what games have sold. So according to these analytics, as of the end of March of this year, Sea of Thieves sold 1.8 million on PlayStation. Let's see, it says Age of Mythology Retold sold 41,000. Pentiment sold 14,000. Hi-Fi Rush sold
Wow.
100, Hi-Fi Rush sold 137,000. So yeah, the games aren't like really lighting things up as much as like people would think. That just because they're on the pre-order list or whatever,
So-
like doesn't really mean much, honestly.
I need to
But
just
then
say this
again,
one thing. Let me just say this one thing on Analia Analytics, because there's been a lot of discussion this week with Final Fantasy 16, and I think a lot of Xbox fanboys, they saw one piece of a tweet from one of the people from Analia where they basically used reviews as a reference point to show that, look, it's not just our analytics that show that the interest is low and the sales are low. Also, the reviews are low as well. And a lot of sort of Xbox fans jumped on the bandwagon that they're using reviews to calculate sales, even though in the following response they said, no, we don't use reviews to calculate reviews. We just used it as a reference. Now, I just want to clarify, the sales you just spouted off, anyone who does even a cursory analysis of their data and their data over the last few months or years or whatever would know that reviews are not being used to calculate the data, the sales, because I'll give you one example. Doom, the Dark Ages, has 16 times more reviews on Steam than on Xbox, but they have the sales at double. Doom, the Dark Ages has 6.5 times more reviews on PlayStation versus Xbox, yet they have the sales at a similar number. Forza Horizon 5 had at launch a similar number of reviews as Sea of Thieves at launch, yet they have Forza Horizon 5 sales at more than double. Just people exercise a bit of common sense and logic. If reviews were being used to calculate the sales, there wouldn't be these gulfs and complete non-correlation with the reviews and actual sales. So they clearly are not using that and have some other metric.
I'm going to jump in here real quick because something like people talk about the RTS games. I need you to shut the fuck up about RTS games unless you play the games, right? Because if you cite me console RTS numbers, I will laugh you out the fucking room because these are PC games. Get it through.
Yes,
people.
and I was saying that they sold like shit on PlayStation.
Yeah, they sold like shit on PlayStation, but they are mega successes, so they aren't flops. It's just console mans don't buy RTS games, and that's what it is.
And console gamers don't buy, like survival games, but they buy them a lot on PC. It is what it is. That's why it's best to keep these things separated, right? Like consoles and PCs, they're different things. If I look at the Steam's 10 most played games, it's almost always the same fucking 10 tired games, It's the fucking Counter-Strike and, all this bullshit, you know what I mean? League of Legends, and it's shit that console players don't want to touch. If that's why when you look at the things and it's like 80% of fucking people on PC were playing games 10 years ago versus new games, like, yeah, they're playing the same old tired shit. You know what I mean? Console gamers are at least giving new things a try. You know what I mean? And that's like, it is what it is. They're different fan bases. They're different kind of gamers. It's like same thing with phone gamers, right? Phone gamers don't want to play Gears of War on a fucking phone. They want to play Candy Crush and all that shit for 5 or 10 minutes when they're, waiting for a bus or at a doctor's office waiting room or something. They don't want to get into Halo. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
That's an interesting point because you know what? Your frustration, Death Singer, I understand it and I hear it, but Crap makes a good point. That's the thing when Microsoft's trying to marry worlds, and that's the thing. Sometimes the worlds don't merge well, and I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll find out.
I don't get why you put the RTS on consoles anyway, because it's not the market for it. Like that's a PC crowd,
right?
Like AoE 2 in its own right is the most successful RTS game of all time. This game is 20 plus years old, and the bitch is still super popular, right?
Yeah.
This game has stood the test of time and destroyed it. Now, and the fact it's still mega popular now, even though they have newer games, Age of Empires 4 exists. but people don't give a shit. They just love AoE too. So it's going to be what it's going to be because of the gameplay. But then it's like, I just took the most played of all time on Steam. You have Black Myth, the only single player games you have is Black Myth Wukong, Monster Hunter Wilds, Cyberpunk, Elden Ring. So 4 of the top 10 most played of all time on there is single player games. And then you have like Hogwarts, Baldur's Gate 3. But a lot of it is multiplayer. But that's because, these are your evergreen multiplayer games. Everyone's going to play PUBG. But bear in mind, a lot of these rankings are affected by the world because more people in like different parts of the world will play other games. Like as China showed you with the support for Stellar Blade or Black Myth, right? When Wukong released, China stepped the fuck up.
Yep.
So you also have to factor that in. So some of these games on here might be more popular in other parts of the world, and they just play it a lot more than, say, like America. So, because it's a worldwide thing. So, yeah.
So I got a lot of super chats here. Some of them do have questions.
I can't even find Final Fantasy on the most played Xbox list. I'm looking, and I'm like deep into the hundreds, and I can't find that damn game.
Now don't get Nib started on that one.
Mean, listen. I don't think it did very well.
Xbox gamers don't play those most Xbox gamers. They cry, "We want these games. We want these games." They don't even play these games. I think the reason I can't get it.
No, it's because the game is not on Game Pass. If the game was on Game Pass, it will have more.
That too.
That's
what it is.
Right?
That's right.
And half of them are waiting. They're like, "Oh, it's going to come to Game Pass for sure." So I'm just going to wait. I don't care if it's a year. I'll just wait.
The thing is, Microsoft has successfully kind of getting their console gamers to accept being PC gamers, and they're also conditioning them to not buy games, but rather pay to rent them through a service, right? Like that's
right.
Because they have complete control.
Exactly.
They have complete control.
Facts.
Actually, no, they're not really motivated to do that. I mean, if you think about it, and what I'm saying is sort of, I don't know if I could say everything I'm about to say, but I am going to say it. We sit here and talk about Xbox all the time, and we say this about Xbox, that about Xbox, and everything like that. You have to understand, Xbox has never been motivated to sell you a box. Okay, that is a fallacy to think that to begin with. Okay, if you think about what is a console, if you look at Nintendo, okay, show me a Nintendo console. You can show me, okay, like the Switch, whatever, the Wii, whatever. You can bring them up, eons of gaming hardware from them. Same thing with PlayStation, because their game, when they make a game for their console, their game is a means to an end to sell the said console. Xbox was never that way. Xbox's games are not there to sell the Xbox consoles, at least not going forward. There were in the past, and the only reason Xbox even came into the gaming market was because they were terrified of Sony and the PS2 and the OS that's going to be in the living room. That is the purpose of the Xbox, so that they had they had some sort of answer to whatever living room OS. They were fighting for the OS of the living room because they knew they lost the battle with the phone and everything. They knew they had to be in. They lost the battle with the podcast. They lost with the iPod or AirPod or whatever iPod, and they wanted
Zoom.
Yeah, they wanted to be forward. This is why they had the box to begin with. So that being said, they lost that, and they know they lost that war because who won it? Android, because most TVs these days have a Google operating system on them anyway. So they lost that. So what is their motivation now going forward? Their motivation now going forward is their motivation from day one for Windows, for Office, is to sell the fucking software. Yes, and they are going to put that bitch everywhere to make sure that wherever you have a terminal, you can download that software.
This is the point.
Why? You saying Xbox is for the streets? That's what you're saying?
I mean, they go with everybody. You should go onto the streets. I mean, but the thing is this. But people getting offended on Xbox when I just said that. Microsoft is not offended when I say that. Microsoft
they're not. That's right.
Oh, not at all. No, they don't care. Yeah.
So that's like, okay, whether you buy your game full out on PlayStation or you buy it or rent it on Game Pass, it's okay to them. So going forward, what is the purpose?
But I think they haven't learned from the mistake that was the Windows Phone, right? So like they gave up on Windows Phone, and you know what funny was, because it mirrors Xbox in some ways, right? They spent billions of dollars on it. They built up exclusive games, exclusive features and apps for it. Then they started putting those features and games everywhere. Then they made promises that they're going to still make new phones, and then they canned the whole thing. And now we're stuck with the duopoly of Apple and Google or Android, whatever. So and Microsoft themselves are kicking themselves in the ass because they're like, we should have stayed in it, because then at least we would have an opportunity to have our store built up and stuff like that. They're having trouble launching a mobile store of their own because of this, still to this day. So, they're going to end up regretting all the stuff that they're pulling right now with not caring about their own hardware.
Well, if you go,
but why I said their lies the rub, right? If they only want to focus on software, why are you coming out with another piece, another console? Because they want to bake the cake and eat it too.
That's what I'm
like.
like.
They want to cater to that 1% that wants to play the game but doesn't want to buy a PC.
Exactly.
Just like they build surfaces, a lot of people don't get surfaces.
Man, I had the Zune. I love the Zune. It was great. It was awesome.
I had a Windows Phone. That thing was awesome too. What
people don't understand was the whole reason behind the Bethesda and Activision buy. So when that whole discussion happened with Phil Spencer and Satya saying, I'm going to shutter Xbox, because Satya saw it. He saw the writing on the wall. They lost the OS battle for the living room. So Satya went to Phil and said, okay, why are we in this? If we were in this to be for an OS, why are we lost that battle? Why are we this? Phil was the one who convinced him, hey, there is money in gaming. That is why they put all the money behind gaming. So when they started buying all these corporations like your Bethesdas and all these other crap that they ended up buying, that ain't me, by the way.
D is one of our big tech guys, but he has not found the mute button on his phone on any podcast. I don't know how the hell D does that.
No, normally,
actually why Bill Gates was the one that thought it was money on gaming. Remember, he's the one that came out.
So guys, listen, that's a great conversation. I have a lot of super chats I did not get to, and some of them are questions. So you guys might want to get to some of them. They do pertain to what we're talking about. If they do this, Liquid said, by the way, thank you for your patience. He goes, Mooch, you're gonna read my super chats. He's got like 4 super chats in here, and I apologize, Liquid, but the panel was having such great dialogue. I didn't want to interrupt. He says, if they do the third-party OEM route, it's going to be fragmented, just like the PC is right now. That's the pro of exclusives. You just have to develop for one console. So
not really. It's a PC.
Yeah, I think when it comes
is to sell the console. But if your goal is not then what are you doing?
Yeah, their goal, Liquid, is not necessarily is not. That's why my enthusiasm. I know what D meant by how excited he is for the UI, and I do. Now that I am on Steam much more, and I'm getting a little bit more on PC, I do see it. I know what he's talking about. My enthusiasm as far as the console, the box itself, that's very low. As far as what they do with the UI.
We have a PC. Why the hell would we want to buy that?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm just not gonna. I right now, unless there's something. And again, this is too early to tell. By the way, everybody, I want to say this. We've said it a few times. I want to make this clear. That was a 2-minute ad that they kind of did there, just saying this is what we're doing.
Everything that we're doing is conjecture, basically.
Right, exactly.
Because we don't know until they officially come out. Yeah,
no, because if you go by conjecture, how in God's name is it conjecture? If you go to PlayStation and tell them, show me the PlayStation console, they'll pull out a PS5. You go to Nintendo and show me the Nintendo console, they're going to market that as Switch 2. When you go to Xbox and show me an Xbox, what do they show? They show everything.
Their TV stick.
Yeah.
well, I mean, listen. You can play.
They show you their toaster. There you go.
Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. You can do almost all the same stuff.
Makes toast.
You can do almost all the same stuff with PlayStation. It's just PlayStation cares about their console, right? And Microsoft doesn't. So I'm not saying that Microsoft cares about they don't. But the thing is, they should. Right?
Exactly.
Like that's the main thing. It's like
they
if you
never cared about that console.
They have. They
it was
cared
a means to an end, though. That's what I'm saying. They were never motivated for the hardware for hardware's sake.
They predicted something like 500 million Xbox One sales at the beginning of that. That's what they had internally predicted. 500 million Xbox One sales. They were going to dominate because in their mind, TV mixing the entertainment with the gaming was going to be the next big medium. And they totally, Microsoft has a habit, kind of like Sega, of being too early for things or missing the boat with things entirely. They're trying to be the everything instead of focusing on and being great at something. Sony's great at consoles and their exclusive games or whatever. Nintendo too. They do their own thing. Microsoft isn't really known for anything besides pissing people off. I guess you know what I mean. It's like you look no further than myself.
Yeah.
Someone who spent literally thousands and thousands and thousands on that shit, and I don't trust a word that they say. You know why you can't trust it? Because look at their leaked documents from the FTC trial. They were going to come out with a spherical Xbox Series X. It was going to be redesigned with slightly better like Wi-Fi and a couple better improvements or whatever, with a new controller. That was going to have haptics. We're stuck with these old ass controllers from over a decade ago still.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they really cared about their hardware, of course they would have come out with those things, but they canceled both those things. In their documents, they said they were going to use ARM for to produce the next Xbox in 2028. Clearly that shit has sailed too.
Yep.
Right? Like because they just announced the AMD stuff. The other thing that I would ask is like if they're just now announcing this AMD stuff and there's rumors that they signed this deal late, you might be very well looking at 2028 before the next console comes out. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, why would they be in a rush to put one out anyway, since they don't care about it?
That's the thing. They don't. That's a great point. Everyone's rushing to say next year, which may happen. But they just announced their partnership with AMD, right? And like you said, they're just not in a hurry for hardware. I mean, I don't know. I think we've all said that.
I think the only reason why they announced it was because Sony was talking about PS6 a little bit.
Yes,
right?
that's what I'm saying. I think that they
have to, and they want to still be a little bit in that conversation.
They want to be in the conversation. They want to be relevant. Yeah.
I don't see how.
Interesting. It's interesting that you guys think they're not in a rush for hardware, because I was thinking the opposite. They've massively reduced stock. They're running out of stock with not producing as much of the Series X and S. Their pricing is super high.
I think they stopped, but I think they stopped it. They stopped it deliberately.
I thought they might end this generation prematurely because the Series X is not going anywhere.
So wait,
what's going to sell people on the next one?
I was just going to say, what's the pitch?
And they don't have any exclusive. I don't understand.
The exclusives aren't there. Right. It's probably going to be. We deliberated tonight.
Hybrid thing, right?
They're
going to try and sell them on better hardware. And
you couldn't sell them with exclusives and Game Pass, and Game Pass was like $1 for the first 3 years of this generation. You couldn't sell them on that, and you had a $2.99 SKU. Now we just talked about Nib.
Listen, guys. Want to say this real quick?
But
regardless of if we think it's going to be successful or not, this is what's happening now. For the last 2 years, they've been hinting at a next. At the last 2 years, they've been hinting at a next generation Xbox. They've been hinting at it. We know that this new streamlined UI is coming out. Now they're starting to talk hard about the next generation console. In all honesty, guys, this console is coming out next year. Next year is Xbox's 25th anniversary. They've announced that Gears is going to be there. There's going to be a new Forza. There's going to be Fable.
And all that stuff's going to release on PlayStation too.
Regardless. And a new Halo. So this is the perfect time for them to launch their console. I know the way that Microsoft works.
I don't know about that soon, dude, because they wouldn't be multi-year partnership. That doesn't mean next year.
They wouldn't be talking about the console for 2 years already. They've been talking about the console.
I mean, if you think about it, they announced
from what I know, it's coming out in 2026 because the PlayStation 6 is coming out in 2027. And I don't think it's in Microsoft's best interest if they have a chance to come out the same time as the PlayStation 6, because if they come out the same time as the PlayStation 6, they're just going to get buried. I think their best bet is to streamline this UI, get it out to everybody, get these handhelds out, get the console out next year, and come out a year before Sony and try your luck.
Dbatch, what makes you think the PS6 is going to come out in 27?
Because they've already done the chip.
They've already done the chip. According
just go look at all the leaks from Kepler and everything, and how it's been. Just go look at everything. You gotta go look at everything.
The musings that I've heard is that, I don't know if this is true or not, obviously none of us know, is that it could be not the PS6 but a handheld device.
No, the handheld's launching the same time as the PlayStation. They're launching hand in hand.
So you think they're launching
and the Xbox was also. Yes, and the Xbox was also supposed to launch hand in hand with the Xbox. And I think what they're doing is they're like, you know what, let's not let's not put all our eggs in the basket. Let's do a third party.
Nightmare. Like you
Why
think
would it
they
be
well,
like
let me ask you
handheld?
something, D. Said you think they're coming out with a console next year? You've said it's going to be expensive. I mean, if they're not subsidizing, if it's doing all the stuff that you're saying and other people are saying, so their goal to get sales on this thing is to hurry up and release $1,000 console that doesn't have any exclusives, and that's going to get them out ahead of PS6 somehow.
Well, they're trying to bring them over to PC. They're going to entice to these Xbox gamers and look, you're getting much better graphics. Look at these graphics. Look at these graphics. Look at these graphics. And a lot of the base, initially, they're going to be excited for it. And if you don't have the competition of
And don't forget the
PlayStation
AI
6,
bullshit. They're going to throw in the AI bullshit to sell that too.
And if you don't have the competition of a PlayStation 6, because obviously this is going to be more performant, better graphics, better looking, playing the third-party games better than the current PlayStation, better than the PlayStation 5 Pro. So they're betting on this 1 year head start to try to get some momentum.
Let me just say
I'm not saying.
Okay, I get it.
I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm saying that's their plan.
But let me just say something real quick. People weren't buying an Xbox.
2028, by the way.
You could pick up a Series S during the holidays for $150, and people weren't buying it, right? Like they're saying no. They went for 2 months selling an Xbox Series X around the holidays a couple years ago for $350, and people weren't buying it. Right, I categorically do not think, no matter what they do, get a year out. Nobody's going to pay $800,000.
Maybe you're right.
But you see,
that's what they're doing.
They don't care either way, whether they sell 1 or 100.
And if they don't care, then why rush and release it?
Yeah, what's the rush?
They want to get ahead and get their UI out there and get their games out there. They give a shit about their games. It's a way to push their games. They don't give a shit about the hardware.
Then invest more money in marketing.
Remember,
instead of
their
releasing a
games
console
are everywhere. Remember that. Their games are everywhere. PC, Switch,
So
PlayStation.
hear me out, guys. I got a couple.
Okay, but why do you need hardware? Just invest in marketing and forget about the hardware. If you only care about
Because
software.
they want something for the core Xbox guys, and they know that a lot of them. They don't care that they have 35 million Xbox guys left. They look at it as 35 million gamers, and they want to cater to those gamers. So that's why it's being released.
Let's say 40 million.
Probably quite a few less than 35 million, though, if you think about it.
But that's why it's being released.
Well, let's
Numbers
say there's
not
40
important.
million Xbox Game Pass
You know, the
subscribers.
FTC leaks originally said
Let's say
2028.
40%. Let's say 40% of the 40 million.
Yeah, it changed.
Why is every week you're on the show? Why is he adds 5 million to the Game Pass subscriber number every week he's on the show?
I'm making numbers easy. I'm a numbers guy. But I don't want to do 17.5 because once I put it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Why?
I'll give
him that.
He does know his math. Yes.
They did say that Microsoft. Phil Spencer did say that all the plans that they had that they revealed at the trial, they said that the things have changed, and we know this for a fact because that cylinder Xbox never came out.
No, but the only reason.
No, I know that, but then why would PlayStation be a year earlier when they've just launched the Pro as well? Like, it just in my head it's not lining up. And launching
because that's when UDNA is going to be kind of finished.
PlayStation's launching in 2027. It's 7 years since the launch of the console.
Yeah, they're not launching in 2028. I don't know why people get all these dates so wrong.
PlayStation's 2027 is a 7 year. That's usually an average.
I think PlayStation Xbox launch. They launch their next consoles in the same year. That's what I think. Whichever year that is.
No,
Xbox is always going to go a year ahead.
If Xbox is 26, PlayStation is 26. If PlayStation is 27 or Xbox 27.
I can 100% tell you PlayStation 6 is definitely not 2026. It's 2027.
That's fine. That's fine. By the way, I just got my Pro. I'm fine waiting. I'm not rushing it. I'm just saying I think they're going to launch at the same time.
They skipped the next gen. They skipped this mid-gen jump to jump ahead early. You think they're releasing all this information to release in 2 freaking years when they've already been talking about a console for 2 years? Like, come on, make it make sense.
But also this much as well for the Xbox as well. If this console launches, right, the only exclusive this console is going to have is Game Pass. So if you are a console gamer
and better graphics, I guess, for console guys.
Wait,
That
but
is-
D,
that's
but
why
D,
it's there. That is
D,
the only exclusive.
D, the stuff what you just said though, I'm just trying to think real quick because everyone's talking really fast, right? You said basically everything they've just announced. It was a 2-minute promo,
Yeah, and it was rushed together.
and it was rushed.
Yeah,
and
No. You
multi-year
guys, I
partnership.
follow all the details. They've been talking about a new console for 2 freaking years. They hinted
They
it
had
2
to,
years ago at
because-
the Game Awards.
But that's on par for
So you-
Microsoft because they always got to get
And
the
then,
gamers to
then they hit. Then they
wait till
hinted
this.
it again. Hold on. Then they hinted it again last year that we were working on a next generation console.
Everybody's
then
been
she
saying
came
that.
out and out. Hold on. No,
PS6
Sony's
was-
not even saying that.
Yes, they did.
Sony's just saying
They
Yeah,
literally,
did.
they
Sony's
literally,
talking about
they
the
literally just had a
Sony's just-
roundtable discussion about it.
Sony is just talking about the PlayStation
Well, that's
6
all-
now. They haven't been talking
No,
about it for 2 years.
no, PS6 was in the news before. They definitely said we're working on a
Oh.
PS6. They did, D. They definitely did. If Microsoft gave a little
Listen,
bit more
I don't-
information, that's fine. But
Listen,
they didn't
I know
say it.
where I get my info from. and I'm telling you.
I'm not
guys,
saying
it's
your
2026,
I'm not
man.
saying your info's wrong. I'm only saying to you that they haven't come out and said much more than PlayStation has.
Well, why not?
They
Let
have.
me just.
They have.
I'm
They
just trying to
definitely-
go
they
by
definitely-
go by the past of what Microsoft has done. When they announced the Xbox One S, right? They also announced the Xbox One X that same time, even though it was coming out 2 years later, right? And they're like, we want to make sure you're not wasting your money on something if you don't have to. And they
Okay.
did the little thing, and everybody's talking
everybody-
about that.
Everybody's getting too emotional here. Just use your head for a second. Take your emotions
I'm not
out of it.
upset,
Take
D. I'm
the
just
hate.
trying to say to you,
Hold
like,
on a
it's,
second. Hold on. Take. No, just hear me out. Everyone needs to take their emotions out of it and upset that Microsoft is doing this and Microsoft's doing that. I hate a lot of shit that Microsoft is doing, straight up. But just use common sense. Next year, they're having a new Halo.
Mhm.
They're having a new Gears. They're having Fable. They're having a new Forza. It's their 25th anniversary. When would be the perfect time to release a new console? Why
T.
the
Yeah,
but they
hell
just
would Lisa
announced
Su?
they're
Hold on.
going
Why
into
would
a
Lisa Su
multi-year
come out
partnership.
today and talk about this?
D, can I ask
Why
you a
would they
question?
be talking about the future of this if it's like 2-3 years off?
D,
It just doesn't
D,
make
can
sense.
I-
They literally
can I
said
bring-
we're going into a multi-year partnership to produce beyond the chips, right? Beyond custom chips. But a multi-year partnership doesn't mean 1 year partnership. Like that sounds
No,
like
it's,
something-
I didn't say that, but it's coming out next. Listen, I don't know what to tell you.
No,
guys.
D, listen,
Like,
D, listen, hear me
it's
out though.
coming
No,
out
I'm
next
not
year.
I'm
What
not
they
even
announced.
I'm not saying you're wrong. That's not the part I'm talking about. But what you just said, for an example, I just want to use just hear me out. You love this. You said let's use common sense. You said next year they're coming out with Halo, they're coming out with Fable, they're coming out with this. Why wouldn't they? That would be the year they launch. Hear me out. If I could just put you in the time machine and go back in time, okay, to 2020. What if I told you go back to 2019 and I told you that they were going to launch the Xbox Series X without a first-party game? You would have been like, Mooch, you don't know what you're talking about. Halo Infinite's coming out. They're going to have something for Forza Horizon. They're going to have this. Listen, it doesn't matter.
So you don't think they've learned from their past? And wouldn't it be a feather in their cap to say we're releasing a new console with all of our flagship games? Like, come on.
No,
It's
I'm not
hard
sa-
to
I'm not
figure out.
saying-
The
I'm not
reason I
saying
think-
that,
The reason
but-
I'm not so sure is because when does UDNA come out?
So UDNA
2027.
UDNA comes out 2027. It comes out.
That's what I thought.
But-
Right. So if they
But the
release it in
console is coming
2026
out November. It's coming out November 2026, which is like
Okay.
freaking 2027.
Okay, but what I mean is if the new system you're talking about in 2026 was not UDNA or it was not forward thinking, they would literally be shooting themselves in the foot for the next
It's
generation.
going to be UDNA. We already know that. It's going
The
to be
main
UDNA.
thing why I wouldn't
just like
believe
hold on a
that
second.
is
Just like in
because
November this year, RDNA, the first RDNA 4 card with ray tracing and machine learning AI came out on the PlayStation 5 Pro before PC, and in January it came out in PC. So why is it unrealistic?
Yeah, but
to
that was only
think
2 months difference.
So November to January is how many months difference? It's the same thing because
So,
the Xbox
you're
is gonna
saying
come out-
UDNA is coming out in January 2027.
that's when they're going to announce it at CES. Yes.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not.
be an interesting one to come back to.
PC's a
I'll tell you that.
I'm not
a
even-
2-year cycle. Like,
D,
what,
I'm
like,
not
it's
even
like-
questioning your
PC's
point.
a 2-year
on-
cycle.
That's
Every
fine.
2 years they announce the new stuff.
I'm not going to
What are you
sit here
talking
and
about?
say that it's not coming out next year. That's not my thing. I'm just saying to you.
why would a CES announcement appeal to console gamers though? I don't understand that either.
That's
Also,
got nothing
like-
to do with consoles. The console's going to come out in November, and CES is for the PC
Okay.
guys. And I'm saying it's going to come out on the console 2 months before the PC.
So you're saying in 15 months this thing's going to come out, but there's not been a leak or a talk of
There is
dev
leaks.
kit or anything like that. I haven't seen any leaks for dev kits or anything. I haven't seen any.
Well, that's
like, I have
nothing
nothing
for dev kits.
I've heard that the chip that's going to be in that new box, whatever they're going to call it, has already been taped out. That's what I heard. So
It's been what?
Well, listen,
It's been
the person
taped out.
that
Like,
the
really,
person
like,
that
That's
I
like the
that I
that's like the
talked to-
PlayStation 6. You know, you so you know
'cause
your stuff. The
PS5
PlayStation
Pro,
6 is
we
pretty
had
much taped
leaks.
out too.
PS5 Pro, we had leaks over a year before, right? Same with PS4 and Xbox One, Orbis and Durango. We had leaks 1 year and 6 months before. So I'm
Right.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm just saying
You're gonna get your leaks
anything.
later this year. You're gonna get it later this year, towards the end of the year, and you're gonna get an announcement at the Game Awards.
Okay. Well, hey, good luck with that, man. I wish my Godspeed to them, man. I'm interested. to
I'm
see
interested too.
Honestly,
They
tell you,
have,
I'm too stinking old and been through this cycle too many damn times. I just know the way they do.
Yeah,
things.
but you know what? Yeah, but D, don't get me
Sorry.
wrong. Let's say you're we're all riding with you on this one, and you did your homework and you see that, and that's what they should do. That's you've seen this before. We also know Microsoft has also dropped the ball. Like they literally they launched an Xbox Series X without a game. They were like,
Yeah.
go buy Valhalla.
Well,
like
fair
what?
enough, they were going to launch it with Halo Infinite.
Yeah, but that's
if there wasn't
why
such a
stop
backroar about it.
But stop. You got to listen to your first few words there. They were gonna like D saying they're
Yeah.
gonna. They were gonna. They're planning to. It doesn't mean they're
If nobody
gonna.
said shit about Craig, I guarantee you they would have released Halo.
I'll be honest.
Maybe.
For me,
Hey, Mooch,
the
I
game.
gotta go. I gotta go.
Okay, Lord Metroid, thanks for
Alright.
being here, buddy. I got
Tell the son of a bitch to say on. Come on now, don't tell him. Don't let him walk out like that.
shout out to the
Well,
great
what
Lord
you mean?
Metroid,
I
everybody.
was going to say, for
What
me,
you mean?
the selling point is
No,
not
actually,
even the
yeah,
Halo
I wanna.
anniversary.
I gotta go, but I have fun, guys, and you can catch me on Friday night 6 p.m. at I'm a panel member of the Wise Old Gamer.
All
Please go
right.
check them out.
Let's go, Lord. Nice, very
Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
Getting a
Wise.
box,
Yeah,
don't put it
nice.
to your ear. You're getting a box tomorrow. Don't put it to your ear. By the way.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah. It's a bomb. You try to kill me. What the fuck? I tell what's around the show.
Thank you, Lord Metroid. I appreciate you being here, buddy.
Yeah, thank guys. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night,
You
buddy.
take care, good one,
Go ahead,
I'll see you
Nib.
tomorrow, Wise. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dbatch, you know, the thing for me, I don't even think Halo anniversary or none of that stuff is really the cake that the important facet of launching, I would say, would be to launch alongside GTA 6, right? If
Yeah.
you could have the best version of that potentially could be
Well, that's not going to
really
happen
good-
because GTA 6 launches in May. Not that, but that game has
Okay, May,
longevity.
yeah.
That game has longevity. So
it has longevity.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. To me, it sounds like
say this
this is
because
way
someone
too soon,
says-
but
someone said it in the chat, right? They said they could definitely see Microsoft rushing Xbox next gen, trying to ditch Series and get like a 360 style head start. And my response to that was, that only makes sense if you had exclusives and a decent price point on a traditional console.
right.
If they're trying to sell people on this new, and here's the thing, what I personally think, and this isn't from insiders or talking to anybody, I think 100% they'll announce the next console next year,
Yeah.
and do that big thing. It eats monsters of Godzilla for breakfast again.
Arr.
They'll do something like, they'll be like, you've been with us. I can see Phil because he's smarmy as fuck and just speaks like an asshole. He's gonna go, you've been with us for 25 years, and even though we put our physical editions out on PlayStation and Switch, and we only give you guys digital versions and worse versions of our own games, Xbox DNA for 25 years, and here's to the next 25 years. Here's Xbox XX24.
Yeah.
And then they'll show some fucking little screen with a chip, and next year we continue on. And, you know, I'm going to continue to, you
Game
know,
Awards
wait till
this
next
crap.
year.
Yeah.
Wait till
Game
next
Awards
year.
this year, crap.
Like, this is what Microsoft does.
It might be.
You guys don't
It very well
understand
might
that?
be.
Microsoft makes people wait. Wait till this. Wait till E3. Wait till this. Just wait till the Xbox One X. Dude, I've been covering Microsoft. Mooch,
That's-
how long have we been doing this?
We've been
Since
doing this for a
2014?
long time. The wait, and it's the same thing here. That's why.
11 years. And
That's
it's
why.
Wait, right?
No matter what,
Wait till next year.
D, everything you
Dude, Phil
said.
I don't know.
Spencer at the end of the show. Phil Spencer at the end of the show is like, wait till you thought this
Listen.
show wasn't great. But
Listen,
wait till
listen.
next year.
Yeah.
Halo,
Listen,
Forza, Fable,
when they're
years.
rolling out their new UI this year, when they're rolling out the handheld new UIs this year,
Let's bank on
and
the
they're,
UI.
and they're rolling out the UI to the PC. Honestly, it's really clear to see that they want to convert all these guys to PC gamers. And with all these new UI changes that are coming out, I don't know how you guys think that the console's coming out in 2028. That's just
When you say they
madness.
want to convert,
I didn't say
the guys,
2028,
you mean-
D. I never said that.
You
No,
mean they
the
wanna
reason why
convert
people
console
thought
games?
it was
2027.
2028 is because
2020
COVID affected the first couple of years of this generation and like stock shortages and stuff. And Sony released the PS4 Pro at the halfway point of the and people are suggesting that maybe they released it at the halfway point of this generation. Now, the leaked document said 2028 from Microsoft and said that that was the same time that Sony. Now, Sony might do
Correct.
2027. I don't know. They probably will. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, Microsoft, if they cared about a fucking console and their hardware, yeah, rush out and release it. But if they cared about it, then release exclusives for it. Right?
How are
That's-
they gonna
how's
rush out
that
and
giving
release
a
it?
jump?
It's a PC. It's a damn PC. There's
Yeah.
nothing to
And nobody's going to care about
to
it.
the
It doesn't
design.
matter.
Depends on the
Exactly.
price. Depends on the price. Depends on the price.
The
It's
price
it's all
does. The
gonna be
price
really
does play.
dependent on the price.
The price does play a big role. Hold on, guys. I got a lot of super chats. I'm going to get yelled at by
This
the
thing is
chat.
800. If it's $800 and up, this thing is going to sell worse than the Wii U.
No, because the next PlayStation is going to be $800 and up.
No,
Crap.
fucking
Stop.
Well, let me tell you this much: they
Crap.
always
It's not going to be
release-
$599, and I guess you're going to be playing on the
Hey.
PlayStation 5.
They
still.
always allow.
Hey,
they
man,
always
hold
announce
on,
it.
I
I
mean,
hope
how
you're
get-
right, because
I'm not
This
paying
has
no
so
$800
much-
for
I
a
think it's
console,
I think
man.
it's asinine to think that the next gen consoles are going to be $499, $599. I think
I
it's
said,
asinine.
yeah, $599. I
I
think you
said
can't.
600
Dude,
$700.
do you know how much
That's
the 3 nanometers and all these wafers cost? The cost has gone up. It's not going down,
Well, I
man.
think- yeah, I
and the
think it's
technology is
gonna
getting
go
better.
down, I
It's
think.
not going to be
By the way,
$499. I'm sorry,
the
gamers.
lower
It's
the
not gonna be
nanometer
We're getting
$499.
diminishing
The
returns.
lower the
and I
nanometer
can-
process,
I
the
can play an
cheaper.
Xbox.
buddy.
Look, I can play an Xbox 360 game upscaled through the Series X backwards compatibility that they gave like a enhancement to, and it fucking looks good. There's diminishing returns. I play a Valve. That shit doesn't look like super great.
You know, you do. Okay,
Like,
you
I
do
fucking
know. You
played
do.
South
Whoa, whoa,
of
whoa,
Midnight. I
whoa.
played
You
Indiana
do.
Jones.
You
These
do
games
know.
look
No,
amazing.
no.
Okay,
The next
D, I got a
gen
question
on
for you. D,
The next.
D,
Hold
I-
on. Let me just address this real quick. The next gen on PC and on PlayStation and on Xbox, they're going to be using new rendering techniques. They're going to be using a lot of neural rendering. It's going to be a lot different crap. It's not going to be the same shit that
Okay,
we're
yeah.
getting now.
Okay,
This time we're gonna finally see some difference because
I'm already
Listen.
seeing it on PC right now, crap. And it's just too bad the
all
consoles are too
PC
shitty
gamers
to
are
run it.
swearing now that they see these differences. I look at the shit and it looks all shit looks the same to
Well,
me.
then
right?
you need
Like,
glasses, bro.
I played on. I come from an Xbox One X and a PS4 Pro into the
Get
PS5.
yourself a
and the-
5090.
Amen.
Get yourself a 5090 and tell me the
I'm not
shit
gonna
looks the
game on a
same.
PC.
That's
I'm not
that's-
fucking.
that's
You know what I'm
cap.
saying? That's not my thing.
cap. Path
I don't
tracing
know. I'm
doesn't
not.
look anything
Listen,
compared
this
to
is what
what's
I'm
on
saying. This is what I'm
consoles.
saying.
Come
As a
on.
console gamer, I went from Xbox One X to Series X, and there's not really that noticeable. I went from PS4 Pro to PS5 to PS5 Pro. Also, you know, some things look a little shinier, whatever, have a better reflection, but there's not fucking this huge difference like there was going from PS2 to PS3 or
Well,
from
when I
Xbox
play my
to
games on
PlayStation.
PC with path tracing, there's a substantial difference in how they look, and the
Okay,
next
cool.
consoles will be
I can
doing
go
that.
back and play. Listen,
Okay?
great.
The
I
next
hope
console
that
Yeah, but we're
will
not
be
talking.
doing
man.
We're not talking
I hope
apples
they
for
are.
apples though, because D, you're talking about thousands of dollars, and even if consoles are $800-900, like you're saying, that's still not
I'm
thousands.
not gonna forget that this generation promised fucking ray
It's not
tracing and
thousands.
everything, and we didn't
Yeah.
get it for shit.
Yeah,
Right?
that's the one thing in the community. I try to urge people all the
That's why
time.
they're going PC.
I have a PC. D, you have a PC, right? We have good PCs, but the point of the matter is, I can't sit here on the panel and be like, well, you know, you just have to try this. Like that's not. When you see people in the community talking, I think we're also numb to it now. We think everybody has a 4090, everybody has a 5070.
Yes, but-
Not
but-
everybody has that. They
But
don't.
Mooch, my point is that the next generation of hardware is going to support that at a much lower cost. At that you know, it's not, you're not going to need a 5090 to do all of that shit.
But
And it's
you're
gonna have
coming in.
AI, so
D,
it's going to
you're coming
to
in.
do neural net.
D, listen to
neural
me though.
rendering, which
I
is
agree. I agree with
incredible
you.
if you've seen what it is.
Buddy, I agree with you, but you're not listening to me. You're coming in from a $3,000-4,000 standpoint, saying, "Hey, Mooch, you're going to be able to do this now for $800." I got you. What about the customer that bought a $299 Series S? To them, the $800 is not a great value. Do you understand? You're not
Well, then
looking at the other side.
They stay there. They stay
Well,
there.
th-
Just like we laugh at the people that the 3060. You just stay there then. Who cares? You stay there.
But if they stay, like the fact that they got to support these potatoes means that they're not going to get the most out of the platforms, and that's been a big
Yeah,
problem.
No. What they're gonna do, like, I don't know. This stuff is so clear for me. I don't know. What they're gonna do with those guys is they're gonna transfer them over to the cloud, where they'll be able, through their Game Pass service, they'll be able to play some of these games through the cloud with better graphical improvements.
Nobody's playing shit in the cloud.
Well, if you have a Series S and you don't want to fucking upgrade, that's what you're gonna fucking do.
Yeah, well, you can't you can't sell somebody something and then go, oh well, you can't play your shit natively now.
So what?
Because
So do you
that's
think?
false
So
advertising.
how long are they going to support the Series S? They're going to
At
support it
least till
forever.
2030. I think at least till 2030. Of
And
course,
the
I
games
listen.
that,
I don't
the
think.
games that it can't support, the new games that it can't support natively, they'll let you
Listen,
play
but
it
I
through the cloud.
disagree with you
Yeah,
that they're coming out
yeah.
with something next year. I don't think they're coming out with something to the end of
well,
2027, and then they're going to
okay.
support.
Well,
They're going to support
well,
the current consoles just like
I
they
guess
did
we'll
with the
find out, right,
Xbox
Trap?
One. Yeah, I agree. But listen, then they're going to support. Didn't they support these for 2 years after
Mhm.
they supported it with
They
first
don't
party
care.
stuff
They
for
don't
2 years?
crap. They don't care going forward because they're taking you to the fucking PC. They don't
Dude,
care.
they're gonna put this stuff on Switch too. Like, I mean,
So they
that's
don't
gonna
care.
be the
Did you
bottom
play it on
line.
PlayStation?
Exactly. So
You play it on Switch too?
exactly.
You
So
play it
why
on our
would they?
hybrid
Why would
PC,
they?
Also,
or
guys,
you play it
don't
on your
forget,
So
don't-
PC?
you have to. So if you're a developer making a game, right, you have to keep the constraints of the Series S, the Switch 2, the baseline PC. You have to keep
You're
it
already,
like
but
and that's gonna
you're already
protect
doing
your-
that. You got to support the PlayStation 5. You got to support the PlayStation 5 Pro. You're gonna have to support the
Exactly.
PlayStation 5
But
6.
even the
That
weaker
shit
stuff.
stuff.
So from a
It
game
is what it
design,
is.
See, nobody.
yeah, from a game design standpoint, this is why PlayStation, despite having weaker hardware, has better
No.
looking games and games
No,
that absolutely
the problem
that
is
take
the
advantage
Series
of their
S.
own hardware.
The problem has always been the Series S. It's a fucking potato then. It's a
Yeah, but
potato
it
fucking
could be
now.
getting worse. It could be getting worse because the ROG Xbox Ally with a Zen 2 or whatever, equivalent to like a Steam Deck almost.
It's a
I know
terrible
it's to
name,
aim
by the
on
way,
a
for a handheld. Like Microsoft.
yeah,
Yeah,
can't
that's
do
one thing they
shit.
need to do. They need to fire the
so
people
they-
that make up these names.
that's gonna potentially bring the baseline even lower, right? If developers start considering that, because that would be like dropping the baseline from a Series S to like a
That
Steam
is
Deck.
true.
essentially.
That
Just
is
call the
true.
next
That is
Xbox
true.
the Xbox 6 to match the PS6 and be done with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or Xbox 5, whatever
Hey,
the
I
fuck.
don't-
Like
I
all
don't
these
know.
weird names
I
and
think it's gonna be
shit.
called Xbox
Terrible.
PC.
Yeah.
That's me.
They already
Xbox
have
PC.
Xbox PC.
That's actually a pretty good name, actually.
Dbatch, I'll say
But
I don't know
also-
what the future holds, right? Like, but I will say everything I'm hearing, like the thing we just spoke about identity, right? And why brands find success and what they stand for. And now I'm hearing, or the rumors are apparently that PS6 is going to have split SKU, which PlayStation has always been against throughout their entire lifetime. Their CEOs have literally said split SKUs don't work.
They don't
So
work.
apparently they're going to have a split SKU. Apparently they're also going to have a handheld, which also would be a lower
They're not-
common denominator.
No.
holding
The
back
split.
their
You
hardware.
got that mistaken. If you look at the
Right.
chips, there's just two chipsets. The split
Yeah,
SKU
go on.
is the console and the handheld, not two consoles.
Yeah, so on the leak I'm reading right now, apparently it's that there's a PS6 Lite, a PS6 handheld, and a PS6. Obviously, it's probably just bullshit. I don't know.
No, that is
But-
bullshit.
Yeah,
so
that's
you're
not
saying
true.
just
No
a
way.
handheld, just a
Yeah,
handheld,
just a handheld and then a console. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
So the
Just two
handheld,
slots.
obviously, because if it's a handheld, it's going to have to be notably less performant, right?
Yeah, it's gonna play
And-
PlayStation 5 games. It's gonna play some PlayStation 6 games that get like with PlayStation like sort of graphics.
But then by virtue, automatically the PlayStation 6 is going to be gimped for the entire generation because the lowest common denominator suddenly, for the start of the generation, is something equivalent to power to PS5.
No, they can
No,
always
not
have,
really,
they can always
because
tell
they're
you to
gonna-
stream
no,
it because
'cause they're gonna
PlayStation
support-
has
they're
a
gonna
streaming
support the
option as
PlayStation.
well.
They're gonna, yeah, they will, and they're also when the PlayStation 6 comes out, they're not abandoning the PlayStation 5. They're gonna release all the games for the PlayStation 5 for like 3 years. So this is what
Yeah, but
these
the
architecture-
handheld
hold
they're
on,
gonna
hold on a
support
second,
for
hold
the
on a second,
entire
hold on,
generation,
no. With the architecture going to PC x86, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna hold back the PlayStation 6. The reason why
yeah,
it
of course
holds
it would.
hold on
Of course
a
it would.
second. The reason why
yeah.
the Series S holds it back is because of the VRAM. The VRAM is very
Okay, so-
brutally low in that,
I'll
and that's the problem.
I'll explain to you why I think it would hold it back, and I will specify exactly how. Right. So yes, they might only support the PS5 for 3 years, but if they release a new handheld in 2027, that would have to be supported for the whole generation. So actually, they would be tied back for a whole generation, not
Yeah, it
just to the
wouldn't
PS5. So
Well-
one, they would
It
be
wouldn't matter.
gimping the hardware for the whole generation.
No,
Two, the thing with path tracing, right? At the moment, we only have path tracing as an addition to baked lighting, right? Baked GI and baked, light sources, etc. So artists are basically manually. There's some dynamic lighting, but artists are essentially having to pre-bake lighting and customize where it's set,
For
the
path tracing?
values and no, with current baked lighting. Now the thing
Oh.
with path tracing is automated, right? It's basically like real bounce light. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you use path tracing, it's essentially approximating real life light. So you don't actually need any of the
Hey,
pre-baked
Mooch, I got a
lighting.
dip, man. It's 9:30. Damn.
I can't believe I
I
thought I
know, this
stole
guy
you
gets
there,
me here
crap.
so
Yeah.
long every time, man.
All right, man. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Good
All right.
show, guys.
Thanks, crap. I'll catch up with you,
But yeah,
crap.
so here's the thing,
All right,
Dbatch,
later,
right?
guys.
Peace, crap.
See you
Later.
later. Dude. See you later. The beauty of path tracing, when you're not hindered by devices that cannot do path tracing, is that from a design perspective, you actually don't need to pre-bake any of the lighting, which saves an inordinate amount of time for artists who no
Yeah.
longer have to do any of that stuff. So
That's never
if
going to
you
happen,
could do,
though.
yeah, but if you could do a PS6 only game and it had the path tracing capabilities, basically the entire development pipeline would be completely different.
Yeah,
The
but that's not going to
entire-
happen. You're always going to have fallback
No,
for the other hardware that's out there, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Let
but
me also say
a
this:
lot of
there's
PS5
more
games
options.
are now PS5 only.
No, but
no,
you
but
have to
even so,
understand-
like first of all, you're thinking of like say third-party games, right? Third-party games, for example.
No, I'm thinking of.
like
I'm not. I'm thinking of first-party games specifically.
Okay, even first-party games. Sony is not going to abandon the PlayStation 5 and all of those customers. They don't even want to abandon the damn PlayStation 4 customers. They're going to have to soon enough. But the
So is
PlayStation
Death
5
Stranding
guys.
2 on PS4?
But you guys fail to understand there's more
Ghost of
options
Yotei on
available to
PS4?
companies.
But how many years has
Is
passed since the
Intergalactic?
play? But how
Yeah,
many
but
years
because we had
has?
COVID though. We had COVID.
they
We
can-
had
There's nothing to do
We
with
had high
nothing to do with
prices.
COVID. No,
Of
it's
course
nothing
it
to do
did.
with COVID.
If you can't get
No,
a PS5,
no.
how are they
No,
going to broach the install?
they are going to support the PlayStation 4 for as long as they can because there's millions of people over there.
They've
And
already
these
stopped
companies don't
supporting
give
it,
a
dude.
shit about fanboys. They give a shit about money. And
No,
there's
but
too much
factually,
money
they've
there on
already
the
stopped
table.
supporting it.
So
Factually,
now,
they've already stopped supporting it.
what they're gonna do when they end the PlayStation 4 support, people are gonna switch over to the PlayStation 5 slowly, and then they're gonna release the PlayStation 6. So you'll have two options: you can opt into the PlayStation 5, or you can get into the PlayStation 6. As far as like path tracing and all this stuff, and they gotta worry about a fallback and all this stuff. They're always gonna have a fallback. They're never just gonna make a game. Maybe 20 years from now, when everything does path tracing. But in the foreseeable future, every
But the
single
whole point
developer
of
is going to
first-party
always
Can I-
have a fallback.
But let me
No, but they
inject here.
don't. That's the whole point. If you develop a game for the PS5 only as a first-party developer, that is the entire point. What Naughty Dog, what Santa Monica, what they've always told us, what Guerrilla Games in every single presentation they've done at SIGGRAPH, in every presentation they've done.
But
The
let me
whole
say
even on,
this.
even on PC,
we don't have to
no,
design
even on
guys,
the lowest common
PC,
denominator.
PC with the highest hardware, they don't
They're
do
not
that.
designing
They
for
don't.
PC. They're
They don't.
designing
They
for
don't. They don't. They
PS5
don't.
and PS6.
They don't design something just for a 5090. They design it for the whole architecture. So
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they will design They will eventually design games for a PS6 only.
Okay,
Just like they're doing now.
But they can design.
but it's gonna be
they
like
can design it
this-
for the PS6, but they still have options that handhelds back in the day did not. Back in the day with Vita and the PlayStation Portable, the only way you could play those games were on discs or like on a memory card or something like that. Now there are multiple ways of getting the game to the handheld. Look at the Portal. You can stream it from your PlayStation.
Yeah,
You can stream
and
it from the cloud.
and that is perfect because you're not held back by a hardware, right? You're literally say they design the game for the PS6 only and can have path tracing from the ground up without the need to bake any lighting at all, right? You just have path tracing from the get-go. That game, if it was streamed to a PS2 portal, it wouldn't be hindered in any way. But if you have a PS handheld, like a PS6 handheld, say, that is the equivalent in performance to a PS5, then you actually can't do that. You can never design that
If they're going to
game.
do a handheld, but if they're going to do a handheld, they're going to have a streaming option involved as well in that.
No, not even the streaming option. The handheld's going to have an MPU in it. It's going to have really good AI, where it's going to have good frame
but
gen.
it's
It's going to have good. It's going to have good enough that they can slim it down a bit, where it still has some elements of path tracing. Maybe not everything is path traced, and you're still getting a good experience. I know that the AI chips that are in the next, like in UDNA and all this stuff, is supposed to be. I don't know everything they're going to do, but they're going to be very performant. So
here's guys. Let me do this. So, guys,
because you can run path tracing on a PlayStation now.
Yes,
but it would run at like freaking 3 FPS. But if you have some AI on there that's able to do some other things and up your frame rate, then that problem goes away. So I gotta disagree with you.
No, that's fine. Listen, let's do this. Nib and D, let's just come back to this. I have like 15 super chats, and some of them are questions for you guys. And then I was just gonna do a speed round because we've only done one topic. This is we're on the underside of the bet today. We had 3. We're on 1. Man. That's okay. It's like no, D. There's no need for apology. The audience loves it. This is a great conversation. This was the big news of the week. But I do have super chats to get to it. I just want to make sure that everyone is heard. Mateo, I'm saying that wrong. He says, I can get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on console for $10 per month. CD Keys. Shout out to Death Singer. Big fan of CD Keys, by the way. Shout out to Mateo comes back. He says, but it really is, honestly. Death Singer. I want more.
Why wouldn't you?
Game Pass is good.
The thing is, you could get PS Plus from there. You could get Nintendo Switch Online from CD Keys.
You better
CD Keys.
Death Singer. I need you to send me links like you did for those games. Those were fantastic and very helpful. Mateo's back. He says, but PlayStation players will be paying for Xbox games. And remember, guys, this is about an hour old, so I apologize to everybody. Face23, thank you for the super chat. He says, no more custom chips for Xbox. Now it's off-the-shelf parts for their next-gen OEM Steam Machine 2.0.
AMD just kind of debunked that today because Lisa Su, the CEO, she just came out and said that they're going to be doing custom hardware. So, no.
So, you know what's funny, D? So I took it the way you took it. And then there's still people out there saying the way she worded it, it sounded like custom was still going to be out.
They're going to say whatever they say, but
she said beyond. To me, it sounded like they could still do custom and more, not necessarily that they wouldn't do custom chips.
Okay.
No, she's saying that. She's saying that. No, when she said it was beyond. Yeah, and they were also talking like beyond Xbox, like meaning that they're going to implement some of this stuff into PC.
You see, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they were making custom chips, the chips that had the Xbox whatever in it, so that when they make it for PCs, it's already baked into the hardware.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
That's the impression I took as well. Yeah.
So Liquid Tada says we keep talking about the hardware. It's the games that will make the difference. If your games are garbage, then hardware means nothing. Liquid, I'm kind of glad. I mean, we touched on that, but not enough.
They have good games. Listen, they got good games. We know that. The last time that we checked the numbers, I believe before the announcement of 35 million, it was like at 32 million. So they had COD, they had Indiana Jones, all the other games that they had, and it didn't move the needle that much. They're just at 35 million. And the last time we got a report was like a year and a half ago. So they gained like 3 million in that time span. That's not very good. We look at their hardware sales
1 million
of last year.
They went up 1 million.
And another thing to feed off of that if these games are going everywhere, then all of these games are going to be held to the same standard that any other third-party game developer holds their games.
That's right.
So those small little passion projects that y'all used to see, like Bleeding Edge and what was that, Grounded, which now is no longer a passion project, but something more substantial. But those types of little experimental projects are going to be cut. They know what sells. What's going to sell software is those games that cause a huge influx in people's minds, those big AAA. So that's what they're going to be going after. So these companies, it's kind of scary to be a developer for Xbox right now, because those small little games ain't going to fly. And if your big game doesn't sell, Xbox won't think twice. Well, Microsoft won't think twice about.
I wonder about those small games and how many we'll see moving forward. Babora Country says, D, do you know Intercafes? You know what Intercafes are? That's where majority of Steam
Internet
gamers.
Cafes?
That's what I thought he meant, but he put INTER cafes. He says that's where majority of Steam gamers are globally. That's where most RTX sales are. PC gaming is upside down. So I don't know what he means. I know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I know what the cafes are, like you said.
Maybe.
But I wasn't.
Maybe write in again and clarify, because it's a little hard to understand.
That is tough. I know. And it's shout out to Babor. I appreciate the super chat. Glassdoor Gamer says, as a former dev, I have zero faith in Windows optimization for gaming. Linux is more modular to the point you can shave it down for appliances. So he's saying much more.
That's true. That is true.
Usability there.
I think I think their back is to the wall, man. I really think their back is to the wall because
I agree with you there,
they,
Dave.
I gotta say,
they-
I'm so surprised by your optimism about the UI. I mean, if it does work,
because they have
amazing,
to.
but-
This is Microsoft.
Yeah, but
they
that-
have
but
to.
Yeah, but they've
I'll
had
tell
to
you
do
what
it
made
for like
Microsoft
5 years
run
on
shit.
Because
PC.
listen,
Right.
listen. This is why I think they're going to do it. Because if they don't, in all honesty, I think a lot of PC is going to start to head towards Linux, man.
And that's what they do not want under any circumstances.
Yeah.
Yes, under
But
any
because I'm
circumstances.
thinking, like, even on the PC side, why haven't they sorted out their Xbox app for the longest time? They've been saying for 5-6 years they're going to improve it.
Xbox app's
They
a lot
still-
better now, to be honest with you. It's a lot better
Yeah,
now.
but still a
It's
lot
not
Yes.
perfect, but it's a lot
even
better.
on the console side, right? Like,
That's why I'm
I
excited
don't
for this
think that-
UI.
yeah,
Fix
but
that
even on
shit.
the console side, which is not full Windows, it's obviously is on a Windows kernel, but it's like fat free. Even the UI on the console side is janky and
Yeah.
inefficient and crap. And
They,
I'm just
they,
like,
they need to go back to the drawing board. Now, I know at the beginning of Gen, I was talking, Xbox this and Xbox that, and they're the masters of software and yada, yada, yada. And Sony just outdid them. And the reason why obviously the PlayStation 5 is not more powerful than the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Series X is, if I had to put it in numbers, I would say maybe 10 to 12% more capable than the PlayStation 5. However, the PlayStation 5's OS, their overhead, their programming tools, their tools for the developers are much better. They're much more efficient. You know, it just runs better, and that's why you're seeing a lot of games actually run better on the PlayStation 5. And this is not a problem that was, that just came up yesterday. This has always been a problem with Windows, okay? Always. And I think a lot of people are kind of getting tired of it. And I think this is an opportunity for them to kind of rebrand what PC gaming is.
Anytime there's a new console, there's a chance to rebrand. I think you're right there. I don't know. I don't know if they're going
to go all in with the UI.
Out,
I think the UI will be good. Console, I don't know, but the UI will be good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm back. First of all,
Hey,
I caught dinner.
Welcome back, buddy.
You get them fish?
I did. I caught three like 16 pound redfish, and then I caught a 31 pound mahi mahi. So it's a good
you want
night.
to share the wealth, man?
Oh, there we go, man. Scale that, man. We hungry.
I'm starving. I'm always hungry after a podcast. Yes.
Party at Ghost in the Shell's house. There you go.
Well, a little bit of comic relief here. Digital Dude 25. He says, "Is D from the future? He talks in absolutes." Well, if he was from the future, I certainly want next week's winning lotto numbers. Please, D, send those in the DM. Shout out to
you don't have those. There's 21, 14, 81.
Dbatch, if your predictions don't come true, you're going to be clipped to hell and back for this one.
I don't care.
He don't care.
No,
D's been doing this too long. Who cares?
No. D,
all these people get things wrong all the time.
That's
unless
right.
someone was born Jesus Christ. Like, who's perfect? I don't really
That's right. I agree with you, D.
I mean, to support his evidence, I mean, Microsoft does not care about Surface as either. But they release their new laptops every August because that's back to school time. Because that's when most people buy new laptops. So do they care about the Surface? Not really. I mean, it's a rounding error like Xbox is. So same thing here. Next year, I mean, any CEO can look at it and say, okay, next year you got your 25th anniversary. And let's say also that the GTA 6 has been postponed to next year. So
yeah. Perfect
that
time.
will be a perfect time. And if anyone can make Lisa Su get off of her couch and rush a chip, it's Microsoft. So
yeah, but if anybody knows, and you guys do your homework, rushing chips is never usually a good thing.
Well, we listen. We don't listen.
Yeah.
From what I could see in the SOC departments and the chips that are coming out, they ain't rushing anything.
Well, I hope not. I certainly don't.
We're just not privy to everything. That's all. And they tell us what they want to tell us when they want to tell us. But if you think when they're announcing this console today and they're like, this is what we're going to do, you think that they're sitting at the office, okay, what chip are we going to put in it and how many VRAM? They're way past that, man. Way past that.
Well,
I can distinctly remember, though, like 2019 and even leading up to the releases of the Xbox Series consoles. I mean, there were discussions a year and some change prior to those consoles, not only in the Twitter community, but also, with the journalists and articles. And there were, of course, the dev kits. And so I was listening, even though I was fishing, I was listening. and D, you had said something that was really striking, and they are really keeping. If either Microsoft is keeping it very close to the vest, but there hasn't been a whole lot of talk. And you might be a little bit more privy to the information than me or any of the other panel members. So I'm gonna give you that.
Yeah, but there's only so much I know too. They're not saying everything either, man. Like little tidbits, man.
So I really think that that if a console, especially this hybrid, is supposed to release next year, and we haven't had. I mean, we're in June. We're heading into. We're in the later. We're going into July, and we haven't heard much other than this partnership that happened. That was released in the last couple of days, and we haven't heard. A form factor. We haven't heard. And like I said, I can distinctly remember conversations about the Series X, and you were part of them. You know what I'm saying? I listened to you, and 52 CUs, and all the talk that was prior to the consoles being launched, and we haven't heard anything other than this partnership or what it could possibly be, or what it could possibly be integrated, or what Sarah Bonds told us.
Start hearing things after the handheld launches this year. So like around October was the window, September, October for the launch of the handheld. After that, they don't want anything disrupting that. So after that thing launches, then you're going to start hearing all the little scuttles about potentially new hardware, etc.
But I find that odd because it's not made by Xbox. So why would they? I mean, and like I said, I'm a retired CFO of a defense contractor. So the gaming conversation, I'm the hardcore casual. You know what I'm saying? But the simple fact is, because I know business.
You have to understand, that OS is a very big fucking deal to them. It is a huge deal. It is a massive deal. They cannot lose Windows on PC.
No,
if they do, they're in trouble.
No, and they're in trouble. They're in trouble now because there's a lot of woes with Windows. Windows is not the okay. We all run it.
Windows is not the de facto anymore. Yeah.
It is not. It is not. You can do it other ways, and a lot of people are seeing the benefits of gaming on Linux. Oh, what the hell? I'm getting 10 FPS better. Oh, my latency is better. What the hell? My CPU it's not dragging here. There's less of a bottleneck. And these all these statements are true because on Linux, gaming is better.
Let's go Linux. D, you sold me. I don't know what the hell's going on, but that sounded like it's a viable option moving forward. Now, this guy Cinders here says, D, you can plug your ears, D. It's not bad. He says, I'm tired of D. He goes, talks over everyone and hurts the quality of the show. This is not Twitter.
Ow.
Oh, stop. Cinders, listen, this is CrossFire, and when D or any guest comes on and they bring that passion, that's what I love. Like, I don't want... I would rather D come on and talk over and like really get his point out. He always says, hey, let other people talk. D always waits his turn too. But D comes with a lot of passion, so I appreciate that. Cinders, thank you for the super chat. But that's what we encourage on the show, is people to come on and speak passionately.
And to be clear, sometimes somebody will say something that I have a real good point, and then sometimes the conversation just goes on and you just forget what you wanted to say.
Yes.
So sometimes that's why I just jump in and
you've got to jump in, D.
It'll branch out to a different conversation too.
Yes.
So come on.
No, exactly. And that's the same thing. Yes, that's the same thing with the super chats. I always say it's not that and that's the thing. Someone said to me, Mooch, I had a super chat, you didn't get to it. It's like that it's not that I didn't get to it. They're all right here. I have them all right in front of me. There's great conversation going on, and when someone's got a point, if I interrupt it real quick, they're going to lose their train of thought. I mean, I know it happens to me, so I would assume it happens to others. Shout out to Liquid Tada, who comes back. He says, so with all these bombs, do we really think because Xbox makes new hardware, it's going to make a difference? Now, you guys don't have to answer all these because we did kind of talk about some of these, but if you want to, go ahead.
I can't definitively say no. It's gonna make a difference. I can't because there's so many questions like how are you gonna distribute these games? How do I access these games? How do I buy these games? How am I gonna play my backwards compatibility games? What is the price of this? Because the price is very important. And then at the end of the day, why am I not just making my own PC to however the hell I want to make it and then have the ability to upgrade it as I go? So I can't say any of that is, I don't have a lot of faith in that. The only thing that I'm excited for and that I have faith that they'll be able to achieve is this new UI streamlined across all devices and just one easy, console-like experience when I fire up my PC. That would be huge. That would be huge in itself.
That would be pretty neat. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm going to piggyback along with that, and I go back to the fundamentals of it. Is in order for this to be a success, Microsoft has to now, on top of rebranding themselves, if this is what you want to call it, but also you have to strengthen your marketing arm. Like, we focus on the tech aspects as we should, and the games as we should. But then the biggest component, and one of the most fundamental components, is how you're going to get this product out there into the hands of the gamers worldwide. Right? If you solely concentrate just on your market, which is here in America and I guess South America and parts of the UK. And even Xbox's presence in the UK and in some parts of South America is faltering. So I go back to, in order for this to be successful, you have to ramp up and really heavily invest into your global marketing scheme and getting the word out there and showing the benefits of what this possibly could do. I mean, that's where I would start, and that's in my experience and in my expertise, my field of expertise would be along with the rebranding is getting your product into the hands of the consumers and how you go about that and the messaging that's involved with that.
Agreed.
Yeah, which is funny enough, like that's basically what PlayStation is doing now, right? With all the hero projects, in parts of Africa, the Middle East, China, South Korea, India, etc. I put out a tweet just yesterday, I think, talking about a heavy marketing push they're currently doing in China, along with the Days of Play sale, where they have the PS5s discounted. They've got like famous Chinese actors doing adverts, things like that. So it's clear like they are cognizant of a much broader and more kind of future thinking kind of plan of where their market share and makeup looks, because I always, I've mentioned this on this podcast before, but the conversation is always just follows whatever Microsoft is doing. Like, oh, if you need more revenue, you need to sell, you need to go multi-platform, you need to release on PC, you need to do this. But that's not actually true. There's entire other avenues of revenue and untapped market where you can make up a difference. Like China is what, like, think about the volume of potential revenue that sits there, which is predominantly PC right now. Even if they could just tap into just a small percentage of that, that's an insurmountable amount of difference it will make to their revenue and to their growth, etc. And same in other emerging markets as well. Like literally, that could be a much bigger differential than differentiating kind of addition than just releasing games on PC. The strategy they have releasing games on PC hasn't actually net them that much of a benefit. It hasn't net Microsoft that much of a benefit either. So, maybe the broader kind of revenue is in emerging markets and not in a multi-platform strategy.
So remember, Glassdoor Gamer says, remember when the Xbox first came out, they wanted to differentiate away from Windows. Windows has a stigma, as does Xbox. PC growth is all China. I don't think it's all China, but it is a lot. I mean, even Detzinger's told me a lot of the PC crowd, a lot of the buys, you see a lot of the numbers are influenced by China. So yes, absolutely, and to a certain extent. Liquid Tada says, D keeps talking about the UI and the console. What games are going to draw people to the hardware? Xbox hasn't been hitting on the quality of their games. I mean, there's something to that.
That's a good question, because once again,
really a question. There's no hardware. They don't care. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, but at the same time, I understand what you say. They don't care, but I'm just objectively speaking, it just, if you have a PlayStation, you're gonna get the Xbox games day one. You're gonna have the PlayStation games that aren't gonna be on the Xbox day one. There's argument. Oh, it's an Xbox and it's gonna play PlayStation games. It's a PC that you can play PlayStation games on right now if you want to go buy one. So let's just get that out the way. But the PlayStation games, they don't come to PC day and date unless they're like a live service game. And if it's a live service game, anyways, it's on your Xbox, right? So like someone said, oh, Spider-Man, it came out in 8 months. No, Spider-Man came out October 2023 on PlayStation 5. It came out on PC January 2025 this year. Okay, right. So no, they don't. So you're going to be waiting like a year, 2 years to play those games on that Xbox so-called console. So no, it's a PC. You're going to get it when the PC version is. Yeah. So there's no advantage in that sense where it's catered towards traditional games and console games and exclusives, there's no advantage for that console because those games are going to be on everything. They're going to be on PC. A lot of them are going to be on Switch, the ones that can run, and they're all going to be on PlayStation. But the advantage for me personally is PlayStation because you have games there that you can't get on any other platform.
I'll be honest, I didn't understand this because I heard a lot of Xbox fans like, "Oh, this Xbox is wrong. I like to play PlayStation 5 games," and they already have an
PC.
Xbox for that. Yeah, but then I'm thinking, well, why would you spend
Xbox button.
Why would you spend $1,000 to play PS5 games a year or two late when you could just buy a PS5 Pro for $650 at the time? Maybe the days of play sale is still on. I'm not sure, but it's like it just seems like a bit of a backwards logic, you know. Like especially if you already have an Xbox, like surely you would invest in the PS5 instead, which would be cheaper and perform
you
better.
have to understand, most of their growth in Game Pass has been through the PC platform, and so they listen to their PC audience. And guess what? The PC audience does not care about when the exclusive comes. They don't. Most PC players, they're like, yeah, we'll wait a year. We don't care. We're not going to.
Yeah, they don't care.
I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, I would reject that theory personally, hypothesis, because if we compare the sales on PlayStation versus PC, they're astronomically different. Like something can sell 15, 16 million on PlayStation and it will sell like 1 to 2 million on PC, which tells me that most people who wanted to buy it actually already bought it on the PlayStation, and PC gamers are not really willing to wait at all.
Yeah, no, they literally
are. I'm going to agree with that too.
But they are willing to wait, and
well, they're not willing. That's there's a difference between willing to wait and you have to wait.
Well, I mean, you have to
big difference.
You know, that's the problem. Everyone's like, I don't mind waiting, but if I say you, Detsinger, you're going to get I'm putting food out for everybody on the panel. Detsinger's like, oh my god, I'm starving, and I go, Detsinger, unfortunately, you're going to be the second wave, and you're like,
maybe
I can wait.
Maybe he's fat as fucking on intermittent fasting. You can't stop him.
I have to correct you. Yes, you have to wait. But like you're generally playing a whole bunch of other shit anyway, right?
That doesn't mean that your favorite game that came out that you want to play. Like people, there's a lot of people on PC that only have PC that want to play GTA. They gotta wait.
But if your favorite game is Ghosts of Yotai,
right,
you should probably buy PlayStation.
Right.
You're not gonna wait really.
If it's your favorite game, you buy it, right? Because you buy it for the exclusive. But if you're willing to wait, you wait because you're gonna get the best version anyway. But then you also do another, and people will legitimately wait. Yeah, GTA 6 is releasing on PC day one. But I guarantee you, if there isn't a 60 FPS mode, people will just wait. And they'll be like, I absolutely refuse. And rightly so, you should absolutely refuse.
So, Destiny, I'm not saying some people don't wait. I'm saying the data factually shows that most are not willing to wait. Because if, like God of War Ragnarok or God of War 2018, if it sells like 18 million on PlayStation 4 and then sells 1.6 million on PC, obviously 18 is a lot more than 1.6, even though there are more PC players on Steam, 130 something million, than there are PS4 installed, right? Especially when God of War 2018 came out, right? Obviously it wasn't at the end of the generation. There's a few years left. So what I mean is, statistically, if as many PC gamers were willing to wait, you would have a similar volume of sales, right? Like look at Stellar Blade. It actually, I believe, is sold faster on PC than it has on PlayStation. So that tells you data-wise, statistically, factually, PC gamers were willing to wait for that particular title. Maybe it's the mods, maybe they want to goon out, I don't know. But for whatever reason, they were willing to wait for that game. But statistically, they are not willing to wait. The masses, I mean, obviously a small contingent are, but most people are not willing to wait with other PlayStation games, and they just end up buying them.
To be honest, though,
that's the point. That's the point.
PC
there are certain games that are willing to wait for.
PC fundamentally can't be grouped. You cannot.
I was just about to say that.
Because
they're different gamers.
Separate it, right? There's 130
console gamers.
There's 132 million people who have registered with a Steam account, right? Then you have 145 million players monthly who play League of Legends, right? Then you have 35 million who play Valorant. So now you have to figure out how much crossover. Steam is just one little reference point of the grand PC community because it's spread out everywhere. Steam just so happens to be the number one storefront, but it does not represent the entire PC community. you could say, oh yes, they went into it only did this, but then you also have to factor in how many people got it from without having to go through Steam to get it. Who you could buy it.
Where do you buy PlayStation games off Steam though? Like on PC?
Well, you buy them now. Well, you buy them off the storefronts.
Yeah, you can buy them on Steam. Yeah.
You could buy off Humble, you could buy off Greenman, you could buy off Fanatical, you could buy off CD Keys, you could buy off Amoeba, you can buy off G2A. I mean, the list goes on.
You can buy them everywhere.
Oh, okay. You mean digital codes? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but I'll say this: PC gamers and console gamers are two separate gamers. Like some of us on the panel that we play on multiple devices. That's very rare. Like I'm like a unicorn. I have a 5080, a 5090, 5070 Ti.
I agree.
That's what I was saying earlier.
We're unicorns. So most gamers are PlayStation, Xbox, PC, Nintendo. They're all separate.
D.
Now there's a little flow over for sure, but it's a very very small percent of flow.
And D,
I'll say this with Sony.
What you just said though is exactly what proves my point from earlier. What I was saying when I said that this is quite a monumental feat. Everybody plays in their own area. Xbox trying to merge all of these together. That's why I said with their console, not with their UI, with their console. I said that's why I have so many questions about what they want to do. You just said it yourself.
They're bringing you to PC. They want you to go.
Yeah,
for
but
the
you
PC.
know, Dbatch, you know the thing the point you just made, right? That this is exactly the thing, because like you said, it's a niche basically, and that's why Play Anywhere has been around since 2016. It hasn't made quite a bit of difference, right? And I think fundamentally, like I know I hear certain influencers like, "Oh yeah, Play Anywhere. I can play on my PC." Oh my god! But I think fundamentally, most consumers don't give a rat's ass about that. Like, and they've shown over the last 7, 8, 9 years that it's not a priority for them. Like you said, most people, they're not bouncing between platforms one after the other. They're just sticking with whichever platform they buy the game and they play it through, and that's that. And it's the same thing with even backwards compatibility. We always make a big thing about it, but really and truly, the masses don't really care. Even when PlayStation 4 dropped backwards compatibility, did it make a difference to the impact of that console? No. It didn't. Like, even though there was a big hullabaloo about it.
It's just that one camp that constantly talks about their like everyone's like, "Oh my god, I can't wait! I get to play Left 4 Dead 2!" Like, all right, great. That's cool. You know, I mean, all those games.
I rarely play old games.
I go to my office and play on my PC.
It's like I don't.
I do use it, but it's because I can go back and play. Like, for example, shout out to emulation is how I do it. But obviously, I could go back to the PS1 and play some of my favorite games from there, or the PS2, just for a quick jaunt down memory lane. Plus, they're pretty quick games anyway.
Right.
Plus, if you try and buy the game in real life, some of these games now will cost you 6 figures to own physically. So, like, how you gonna own that game? You ain't gonna own that game. So you want to play it somehow. So there we go. Because I've seen some of these games going for 6 figures, and I'm like, what? If I knew that, I would have held on to it 20 years ago.
Yeah, me too. Tell me about it, dude. Tell me about it. I've had
to your point.
Bonkers, like, yeah.
Mooch, to your point, when you said that some of the questions that this new console, raises to you, it's almost similar to when Microsoft made that first initial push to play. This is an Xbox, so that whole marketing campaign, right? And so they appealed to non-gamers. They appealed to people that just want to use Fire Sticks or handhelds or their phones, and we didn't see the uptick in Game Pass subscriptions or the explosion in, I don't gotta buy this console anymore. So we didn't see an exponential growth in Fire Sticks, for example, right? And so I share the same sentiment with you. Is like, okay, so now that necessarily didn't work, and I'm not saying it didn't. It failed miserably, but we're not seeing that growth. That
didn't do the numbers they wanted,
right? And so now you make this PC hybrid that. And my question is who does it appeal to?
Who's it for?
Yeah, that's the question.
Who's it for? Because is it for your hardcore base that is just wanting, you know what I'm saying, this console? Because to me, at that whatever price point it is, whether it be 800, whatever the price point is, if it's over $299 or $499, which is Series X and X is, then you start alienating that casual community that just wants to sit on the couch and play a few games here and there, and so I think Microsoft has to dance a really fine line with who they're appealing to, because I think they turned off a lot of gamers with that this is an Xbox approach. I don't think that campaign went as well as they would have liked. Else you would have saw the growth in Game Pass numbers and of course like that. So I have serious concerns of who it's actually for. Yeah, for us on this panel, it might intrigue us. We're all gamers. We're all some short fashion, right? D's gonna get it. Whomever else might get it, right? So
I won't. Yeah, I probably won't.
Or the people on the Twitter community, the diehards, people in the know, in this bubble, will be intrigued by it. But a regular person, shopping the aisles at Target, Walmart, wherever the case may be, when you have a $299 Series X, or you have a $399 PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation Pro, I question. They have to be really, really calculated.
The reason, Ghost, the reason I did what I did, and I'm sure D, Deathsinger, wise if he hasn't done it already. I don't know if Nib's going to go back to it because he said he used to play on PC, but now he's steadfast on console. But I built the PC that I built because, to be honest with you, I was like, my justification was, yes, I have my Series X here, but that's unless I see, and again, this is too early to say. I want to see what the new Xbox has, but I don't currently have plans for buying another Xbox console. I will be playing.
Why would you?
Right, I'm going to either play either on PC, Game Pass, or Steam.
Not going to do that. Xbox console is not going to do anything better than what our 5090 rigs can do.
Exactly. It's just not.
It's just not.
It's the
another level.
Not even close. Shout out to Easy. I'll read this, but I'm going to defend D for D. D doesn't have to keep it. Easy goes, D doesn't know anything. He's been wrong about every take. He has no idea what PlayStation's doing. When do we think the PS6 is releasing? So Easy, go easy on D, even though D can handle his own.
You know what's awesome? Well, you know what's awesome? You get 8 things right.
Right.
Piss people off.
Right.
Piss them off. You get 2 things wrong. Right.
Right? D, believe me, I hear you. Believe me, I know what you mean. That's why I said, you're not going to get everything right. No one is. Nobody is.
The funny thing is that's why I don't share the insider stuff that I get given all the time. People are sharing shit with me all the time, but I never talk about it publicly because for me, like, credibility is important, right? Like, I don't want, just in case it is wrong or things do change, like you said, these things are dynamic, right? I don't want to put my reputation on the line and say something and get a bit of attention for the insider. I'm not saying you are. Obviously, you're sharing it, and we're grateful that you can share it. But for me, like, it's just a risky proposition, man. Like, because then,
but it's also too, things change. People get wrong information sometimes.
Yeah,
and also too, when I'm talking about my stuff, I the parts that I know, and then parts of it I say I think this is the way they're gonna go based on the information that I get, and this is the whole industry as a whole. I don't know any damn outlet that has gotten everything right. Like, I'll give you an example. The 32 teraflops for the PlayStation 5 Pro, whatever the rumored specs were. Every single damn outlet went with this because of the leak that we got, right? Every damn outlet went with this. Even Digital Foundry, IGN, everybody. But when that information came out that they're not using the dual T-flops, everybody's in my DM. See, he made that video for you, D. See, you, D, you spread the misinformation without going back to the source that everybody quoted. Like, it's just ridiculous, man.
It is. Yeah.
But it's fun. So, it'd be boring if we didn't predict things and speculate on things. It'd be boring.
Yes.
You guys would be bored. Who would you be trolling on Twitter? Come on.
That's the one thing. So D uses that as far as information. I always say this, guys, too. I think one of the things you have to be entertaining on a podcast, whether it be information, enthusiasm, passion, right? And that's one thing that people go, people who don't watch the show, D, they'll say to me sometimes, how come you were yelling? I'm like, that's the whole, who's yelling? We've been saying that for 10 years on the show. Come on, it's part of the shtick. Let's do it, guys. Liquid Tada says Dbatch is like a pair of Crocs in the room, flip flops. He's not flip flopping. Liquid. Shout out to Liquid.
I
Easy.
like my Crocs though.
Hey, if you guys want information, all you have to do go on Twitter, Google it, Google Kepler, Google the two sock leaks for the PlayStation 5. Google his track record. He was like, he leaked the hard specs of the PlayStation 5 Pro before anybody. Just go look at the leaks that are available, and then look at the people's track records. Like, I don't know what to say to you guys.
Yeah, right. He's like, I've tried. I don't know what else to tell you. Shout out to Easy. He's back. He says, I say with conviction, D's info's wrong. He said, dude is the Jim Cramer of gaming. Whatever he says, expect the opposite. D, where are the tools?
Okay. What about this? What about the PlayStation 5 Pro? Who was screaming from the top of the hills that the PlayStation 5 Pro was real?
He
all you guys said it was fake. It was fake. It was fake. There's no PlayStation 5 Pro.
Right.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to release it. And then they release it. You guys don't say, oh, you were right about that. No, but the 32 teraflops I got wrong. Oh, you're a fraud. Shut up.
Well, it's the same thing. I'm already, shout out to the great Andre Clay. Pardon me. I'm going to say his name right. Andre Clay. He's saying, Mooch, come on, what you said about Xbox, you don't have to have a PlayStation either. But I said, I don't want to wait for exclusives. He goes, well, they're going to come eventually. I said, Andre, I tell you the truth. I'll see you in 2 years, buddy. Just use Ghost of Yotei, ready? Death Stranding 2. Pick any game you want. I'm not waiting 2 years. I'm not waiting 1 year. If I want to play the game, I'm going to play the game now. I don't sit how you can sit there. And I know, and by the way, Andre, I've known you for a long time. He listens to a lot of podcasts. How can you be so into gaming, loving gaming, and then one of the favorite games that you can't wait to play? I was talking, shout out to the great Pat Man Jones who's here. Pat Man goes, well, I don't buy a lot of games on PlayStation, but I'm going to buy Wolverine. It doesn't matter which game you like. I'm not here to say that. Wolverine, Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding, whatever it is you like, that's fine. That's what you like. But why would you want to wait 2 years? I don't quite understand that. I really just don't get it. Like for me personally, I can't wait to play Death Stranding 2 next week. I know a lot of you might say that's not my bag. That's fine. I'm not here to sell you on that. But I would tell you if somebody said, Mooch, I can't wait to play that too, but I'm not going to play on PlayStation. Why? Why would you not?
I've never understood that. Like, I have several Xboxes, and I happen to buy another property in another state, and we're moving furniture, and this is right around the release of Starfield, and I just said fuck it. Excuse my language. I went and bought a whole nother Xbox and a Elite controller to play Starfield online. Like, I'm not, me personally, gaming, fishing, cars, any of my passions. I'm not waiting. Period.
No.
Like,
I just bought a new scooter today because I can't wait.
I actually never wait for like the games that I'm actually looking forward to.
Right.
I'd wait for a game if it's like, oh, I'll wait and see. But it's like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, didn't wait for. Avowed, didn't wait for. Outworlds 2, won't wait for. Because these are all games that super interest me. Stellar Blade, I was willing to wait for. Because one, I knew it was coming. Two, I am so swamped this year because I have like Civilization 7. I have all these other games. Like I ain't got time. I still haven't finished Assassin's Creed Shadow. I had to bench it because there's so many other games to play.
Hey, listen, I never say never, Death Singer. So I'm not going to say you won't, but I would just say odds are less likely. With all the things coming out and the things I know that you're excited for, I bet that gets shelved for maybe indefinitely. I'm not sure you go back to it. I played quite a bit of it, and I haven't gone back after a while. And I was like, well, I just it kind of lost. Well, listen, as you would say, Death Singer, allow me. You have some great one-liners. Assassin's Creed. What is it you always say? Nintendo does what do you always say? Nintendo does what Nintendo does. What is your line with Nintendo? Nintendo will Nintendo. So
yeah, Nintendo will Nintendo.
Assassin's Creed will Assassin's Creed itself. Well, like it just always is. It gets to a point, and I thought this one actually was one of the better ones. By the way, this is one of the better ones.
It
It kept me engaged way longer than any of the last 6. And I'll tell you the truth. I even when I got to the point where I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna go play something else. Like it just got extremely repetitive. There's just a lot. There's this like 7,000 side quests. It's like I don't know. It grew old. It grew old fast.
But it's also testament to just how many great games
that too. Ghost, yes.
For the people that always are like, oh, this generation sucks, and I'm like, then you're not playing the right games. Because like my backlog is huge, and I have this disorder that if I like it, I buy it, right? And so I was super hyped for AC Shadows. Then Expedition 33 came out,
right?
Then another game, you know what I mean? And it's just like one after another,
Yep.
after another, and I'm loving this generation. Like I don't have any complaints, and I've got a 4090, I've got a 5090, I've got a PlayStation, Xbox. I'm primarily a PlayStation dude. But if a game comes out, it's a game like Forza is fucking amazing,
right?
It just
you're not gonna wait.
You know what I mean?
The thing is, I never lose because like Assassin's Creed, I did what I always do, which is pay the $15 for the month.
That's
on
right.
Microsoft Plus, play it, and then I was like, oh, all these other games are releasing. Cool. I just spent $15 for the month, no real loss. Plus, I also know for a fact that Steam Summer Sale 2026. That game's gonna be like 80% off, so I'll get it then. Like it's that kind of thing. Assassin's Creed is like clockwork, right? They release the year, and then that's what a lot of people say on the forums and whatnot in Steam. It's like if you want to get it, just wait a year. Wait for the next summer sale. That bitch will be like 80% off, and you'll get the complete edition.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't care about stuff like that. Like, obviously, if people want to save some money, like, fine. Obviously, fine. Money is different to every person, right? Like, but for me, if I'm excited for something, who cares that I have to spend money on it? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, don't get me wrong. I have Game Pass, so I'm not going to buy a game if I've already spent the money for the subscription and it's on the subscription. I'm not like an idiot, but if I didn't have it, I would absolutely be happy to spend money on a game. I'm not, this isn't to you, Def Singer, but just general. On my Twitter, I get so many people responding as if it's almost like a negative to buy games.
It's a bad thing.
And I think it's so antithetical to this hobby. Like, if everyone was like those guys, obviously Death Singer still buys games. So this isn't aimed at you. But if everyone was like those people in my Twitter who scoff at the idea of buying games, gaming would be dead. We had even more layoffs. We'd have even more cancellations. Like the quality would go down. Like across the board, we'd have so many issues with game design, etc. It's just like, well, congratulations, guys. You're really contributing positively to this hobby. So because in the people like us who are still buying games, thankfully we're still getting this output and this kind of cadence of quality.
The thing is, because I don't have to pay full price. Like, for example, I showed Mooch my Bastion CD keys that I got on pre-order, right?
Yep.
I got the Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Deluxe Edition. I got Lost Soul Aside Deluxe Edition, Mafia: The Old Country Deluxe Edition, Stellar Blade Complete Edition. All four of them, £200. Try and get that deal anywhere else. You can't. And I'm like, all these games are brand new, and they're all deluxe editions. They're not these standard editions, and it's $50 a pop, right, for each deluxe edition. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Why would you pay $70 or $80 for the deluxe editions when you could just go away with $50? So it's just being smart.
Well, if we're talking about all this, right? You talk about what people say on Twitter and everything. The thing that freaking annoys me on Twitter is all of the, especially with the launch, when they announced the new Xbox handheld, the Xbox ROG Ally X, whatever the name was, right? The people are shitting on, oh, we get to play PlayStation games on a ROG Ally. I get to get everything. Xbox is great, and they're laughing, and I'm like, wait a minute, you are happy about the state of gaming. You're taking a company that made Nintendo go for a blue ocean strategy and gave PlayStation a run for their money during one of the generations, and now that company is going, like, it's leaving the console space, at least in the iteration that we know it in right now. It's going let's say essentially multi-platform, and so basically you're losing a console, and you're happy about that. I mean, like, I don't get that. I don't get that. So.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that, Wise. Shout out to Liquid Today. Says PS5 Pro is about to get the PSSR 2.0 FSR 4 upgrade. I don't see PS6 launching in 2027. Mark Cerny said that it takes about 4 years from R&D to the release of a console. So, we'll see. We'll see.
How long they were working on the PlayStation 5 Pro? They said before the PlayStation 5. So when do you think they started working on the PlayStation 6?
Oh,
we already know stuff about the
they've
PlayStation
started
6 chip.
That's
stuff.
what I'm
Like,
saying.
come
They've
on.
been saying stuff about the PS6 for a while. The PS6 is definitely well along the line. Where it'll go, Liquid, and when it'll launch, that I don't know. Shout out to Scoop. He says, Dbatch, show proof. Which one will it be? I don't know which one that was literally an hour ago, so I apologize. Scoop, I'm sorry. I would have liked to have heard what D had to say, but I don't know what that was about. Lord Metroid says, great show. Hey, Wise, ship me that escort. So shout out to great Lord Metroid who joined us tonight. Glassdoor Gamer says, Xbox hasn't fired Phil, and people still believe him. Crap just sent me an awesome VG247. Now, I don't know, Crap. I don't know if he was listening when this article came out, but the article's right here. This is a quote, I guess, from Phil. He said, we're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles. And then it says, Xbox boss Phil Spencer says, likely leaving the PS5 Pro pretty PSSR'd off. Yep, just a quippy little line about expensive hardware. Nothing to see here. So Phil's saying you're not going to grow the market with $1,000 consoles, but then they're about to release. They're releasing a $1,000 console. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah,
All right, so
it doesn't mean it. Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean,
They
again,
don't care.
speculation.
This
It's all
console,
speculation.
I really truly believe is a gateway to bring the Xbox gamers over to PC. I think also it's going to be part of their 25th anniversary thing. I also think it's something for the hardcore. You know, they did that with the Xbox One X. You know.
Yep.
And they're going to streamline it to put it on PC, so you have it on your PC. You buy
I'm
the damn
flipping all this.
PC,
And it's not going to be
you buy it on your
subsidized.
handhelds.
It is not going to be
That's the
subsidized.
Dbatch, I'm clipping you up, right? You better be right. You said it with such confidence, and I'm like, I don't know about this, man. I don't know about this.
Oh,
if you look, I know their PR talk. That's the thing. For one, I know their PR talk.
You're an Xbox guy, so I'm pensive on that.
So I know. Yeah, but I know how they are, and like I think, like I said, I think the UI is going to be good. But the thing that I truly don't trust them on, to be honest with you, is the backwards compatibility stuff.
Right?
Like, is it going to be native, or are you going to do it through the cloud and say the cloud's just as good as native? Look at the latency and throw up all these numbers. That's where I really question them. I question them on the backwards capabilities, because they're really touting the cloud, and we know that it's going to have an MPU on it, right? And we know that the backwards compatibility issue is kind of going to be a thing. Or is it just PR talk, and they're talking about, all the games from this generation, all your Xbox games from the series, you'll be able to play them on the new one? Well, duh, because they're all Play Anywhere and they're all PC games. So that's why I don't trust them.
Where I struggle with like these kind of conversations, right? Because we know, like, the thing is, it's always about tomorrow. Like, oftentimes with Xbox, it's like the promise of the future. You know, whether it's with roadmaps and hardware and technology and release schedules, and it's always promise of the future. And like, I really do want to be optimistic, right? But I'm one of those proof is in the pudding guys. And it's like we're talking about the UI, how it's going to be completely amazing, this, that, the other. I'm looking at the UI on the PC side. I'm looking at the UI on the console side. I'm looking at the UI on the non-gaming side. And it's like, they're several steps behind the competition in every single area. So I'm like, okay, so that doesn't compute. Why am I supposed to suddenly magically believe that they're going to grow flowers out of their arse and do an amazing job on this? I'm not going to give them the benefit we have just yet. But that doesn't mean anything. They've had to do it for a long time, but they haven't.
It does, because this is Microsoft. This is Windows. This is, yes, it does matter, actually. It matters to them.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't matter.
More than the damn hardware, more than the Xbox
but they haven't done it. Right? Like, it's mattered for the longest time, but they just haven't delivered. I
think they deliver on this. On the Xbox console, all that bullshit, I don't freaking know. On the UI, they deliver.
Fine. So then on the next thing, on the cloud side of things, right? On the cloud side of things, like, in all the objective tests that have been done between Digital Foundry, between online YouTubers and stuff like that, they're the worst in terms of like the
new hardware coming out. There's new hardware though. There's the new hardware with the new MPU.
So again, we're back to the promise of the future, right? Not actual proof is in the pudding where they're the worst.
We know what the new MPUs do, because some of these things are.
Yeah, but I've been hearing this for 2 decades, so allow me some.
I don't know if their cloud's going to be to the level of Nvidia, but it sure as hell is going to be better. But right now, as it currently stands, they do have the worst cloud, and you have every right to be skeptical on
have skepticism on what the future will entail from that. But the a dedicated SoC with a MPU on board, that is something that is going to deliver.
So let's move on to the hardware, right? And the hardware in the Xbox One generation, we're talking about ESRAM. The latency is so low. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
It's going to be a game changer. You don't need GDDR. You can do DDR3. It didn't pan out. It was bollocks, basically.
No.
On the
AMD
Series
was
X.
garbage back then.
Yeah,
AMD was
even the
garbage
Series
back
X.
then.
Yeah,
AMD's much
Series
better
X.
now. We're going to UDNA, and we're going to Zen 6.
Well,
And
the point is,
we're gonna have an MPU on board, and we have AMD's
let me
right now. That's out on the PC. So hardware.
I get what you're saying, Dbatch, but what I'm saying is,
Software is what we gotta worry about.
You know what you're saying, right? I have literally heard this exact same story.
Yes.
Every single generation. And every single generation, it doesn't pan out. So I hope you are right, and I hope this time.
Listen, I think the hardware is going to be fine. I just don't think it's going to sell. I think your argument's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too late, and I think they have an identity problem. And I think they have their exclusives are everywhere. I think they have an uphill battle. But as far as the hardware, I'm sure the hardware is going to be great. But that doesn't mean anything because this Series X was more powerful than PlayStation 5. And look how it turned out. It didn't help them.
Yeah.
I hope you're right because I look at the ROG Xbox Ally, right? And I'm like, how does... I understand it's just the base unit. The premium one is spec'd decent, right?
Really good. It's really good.
Yeah, but then how do you have in 2025 a base unit that is the same sort of APU? Granted, they modified it slightly, but by and large, based on the leaks, it performs very similar. The same APU as the launch Steam Deck that was announced 4 years ago. Like, to me, that's weird. Like, so
Price.
Even though I was
the performance, give gamers a price. You want something that's not going to break the bank here. You want something that's gonna give you the good performance here.
Yeah,
I think on PC it doesn't matter because we have a 3060, we got a freaking 4060, 5060, 5060 Ti. On PC, those things don't matter.
No, but it matters to consumers, right? Like, obviously, if you're going to buy a handheld,
then buy the better spec one. You have a choice. They're both going to play the same games.
Okay, but at what cost?
The cost of your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is 4 years later, we've got a similar-ish hardware at the same sort of baseline. Well, the leaks are saying it's going to be more expensive than the baseline Steam Deck.
That's what I'm alluding to, Nib. If you go back and listen to the show earlier, that's what I was alluding to. This is a repeat. It's the exact same. When we had Series X, and I remember I had the argument. I was like, well, what if it's not? And they're like, well, don't worry. There's a $299 SKU. You can come in at that. You can play at that level. But the thing is that, and this is what I was saying to D earlier, it's literally the same thing. All we're doing is just we're moving up. Now we're talking 2025 tech, 2026 tech. That's fine. It's really the exact same thing. Who is this for? Ghost said it. Is the hardcore the only audience that's going to go out there? The Xbox diehards that are going to go buy this Xbox box?
Well, the handheld, honestly tell you, and the Xbox guys are going to hate me for this, but I don't think that handheld is really aimed towards Xbox gamers. I think, of course, some Xbox gamers are going to be hyped up. And, I'm going to get this Rogue Ally.
Yeah,
but it's more for PC. It's more for PC guys.
More than likely,
get into that new UI. And like, oh shoot, this UI is nice. Oh, look at this Steam storefront. Oh man, I can play my desktop games on this. It's such a seamless experience, and it kind of stimulates the market that way, word of mouth and this and that.
No,
and I guarantee you, if they look at the numbers when that thing is out for like a year, the majority of people will be playing Steam games, not Xbox games on it.
Absolutely, D. Absolutely. And people, and Nibbit informed me this last week, if you have a ROG Ally, you don't even have to go buy the Xbox one with the button on it. That software is going to be available for majority, if not all, the ROG Allies.
Yeah, so that software is going to be, there's some conflicting reports. It's not going to be day one, blah, blah, blah. I just find that hard to believe. I'm pretty sure it's going to be day one or week one. And you're going to be able to put it on your normal ROG Ally and have the same experience.
Yep.
Also, too, even if it's not released day one, this is freaking PC. So some guy's gonna dump it, and then he's gonna port it to your ROG Ally, and people are gonna port it to the Steam Deck, and they're gonna port it to the Legion Go, because that's PC, bro. That's how it goes.
That's how it works.
They did say officially they're gonna bring it to the ROG Ally, which is funny because a lot of Xbox guys have been telling me the UI makes it a console. So by that logic, the ROG Ally will be a console too.
So,
but anyway, someone said something interesting in one of my tweet comments. They said to comment on the PS6, PS handheld, I think the handheld will play PS5 and PS4 games natively, but that PS6 games will be remote or cloud played.
Yes, that was on the leak, and that also if it plays a version of the PlayStation 6 game, it's gonna have to be specifically patched.
I don't think. Listen, I'll tell you right now. I don't think you buying a handheld that's a PS6 handheld or whatever, the PlayStation handheld, not a PS6 handheld, a PlayStation. I don't think you'd have a problem with that. What's the problem with that?
It's going to be treated as a companion. So like when you're on the road, you don't want to take your PlayStation. You can play games natively on it. It's going to be to attract people that don't want to spend the price of a PlayStation 6. But they can still enjoy the same games catalog, because you better believe all the games that come out of launch will be on the PlayStation 6, 5 as well.
Right. I'll be honest, me personally, I can't stand the idea.
I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it, Nib. But Nib, if what you just read is true, it would not. It shouldn't bother you, because it will not.
Yeah, that would be great.
It won't affect. Yes, and that makes more sense, because think about it. At the end of the day, then if you want to play a PS6 game, it'd be just like you took your Portal on the road, right? Now you're just right, which is fine.
I understand you being worried of it holding it back, and I just got to tell you, like, technically, like, as long as it's like 16 gigabytes of VRAM and up, you don't need to worry about anything, because that they can always downport it and strip everything out of it. Okay,
you do. Because for path tracing is GPU compute, that is the factor, right? And with GPU compute, like if you can't, if you don't know,
you can make one path trace and one not path trace. It doesn't
exactly
development.
So you know what you just said. That is what I don't want. I want a game to be designed from the ground up solely. Without any baked lighting at all, right? Like just because it would be easier for developers.
You need to go into a cryo chamber and wake up like 10 years from now, bro. Because that's not.
Or just have the handheld stream PS6 games and job done. It's problem solved.
Well, I think it's definitely gonna stream them. We all know that.
But by the time that handheld comes out, PSSR is going to be where they want it to be too. So that'll also be doing a little bit of wonders that we know that the hardware doesn't need to necessarily do. Shout out to Easy E again. He's coming. He says, "D, name something you said that was right this gen." He said PS5 Pro. Easy E. He already said that. And he goes, "D, when will the tools be ready?" All right, we don't need to go there anyways. D's already defended and said it.
Let's go about the tools.
Okay,
Microsoft,
go ahead, D.
Back then, I was listening to everything that Microsoft was saying, and I wasn't as objective, and I was using the tools as an excuse for the the poor performance. Can't speak right now. And they did release the tools, and it turns out those tools, they didn't amount to much, because VRS was supposed to make a difference, and it didn't. It actually made the image quality worse, to like most developers stopped using it, and that was supposed to be the big feather in their cap. The mesh shaders, that was supposed to be the big feather in the cap. I came out, this is when I was still a hardcore Xbox guy, with a video stating that the PlayStation can actually do mesh shaders, and I broke it all down, and I said, listen, I was wrong on this. I thought it would be a big thing for Microsoft, something they have over Sony, and they were not. So I took accountability for it.
Yep.
And Microsoft is the one that said that they were the only ones that could do mesh shaders. And then Alan Wake came out, then Avatar came out, and they're using mesh shaders, and that was put to rest. So I don't know what you guys want me to say. When I'm wrong, I'll say that I'm wrong, and I move on, and you guys hang on to it for 10 years.
They do. So everything has a 10-year shelf life in podcasting, or maybe 20. D, you don't have to say that. I know you definitely did that video, and you've been very clear on all of this for a very long time.
It's like when you take I don't understand some of this gen, these guys out there, when you, as a man, when you make a mistake and you publicly go and make a video saying, "Hey, I was wrong," and take accountability for it, and then they still
rain on you? I don't know, because most people can never admit when they're wrong, and much less take accountability for things. So I think that should be commended, and that should go to show the type of integrity that I actually have.
D, I'm right there with you, and I think, and Easy said thank you, D. Apparently, you and Easy is now moving on, D, which is great. We have closure. This is fantastic. So I will say this. I want to say thanks to this amazing panel. Thanks you guys for in the chat. Thank you for all the super chats. Guys, I got to tell you, as this podcast is rendering, I'm gonna have to change the title to. I will make it a longer version of what our one topic was, but we didn't get to the other things, and I can't keep these guys here. I can't. I know. I wanted to talk. Maybe here's what we'll do over on Twitch, guys. What I'll do is I will be streaming probably Sunday, and then like I say, Tuesday going forward. Well, Tuesday for sure, and we're gonna be doing Death Stranding. I'll bring these topics over. I've got shout out to Blaze 4K. You guys all know Blaze. Blaze has already told me he's gonna pop in on the stream on Tuesday. So shout out to Blaze. Blaze will be there. We'll do a mini Crossfire over on Twitch.tv. I only saw one of you guys follow me. My phone shows me when you guys do that. Please, guys, twitch.tv. It's Mooch TV, M00CHTV. Go over to Twitch and hit that follow button, please. It means the world to me. And we'll be doing like a lot of things. When I game and I stream over there, I do a lot of talking. So we're going to be doing a lot of, it's kind of like a podcast while we game. It's great. That being said, I want to say thanks to everybody here. Let me go in reverse order and say to Ghost, I don't know if you're still there. Ghost, you're muted. I hope you can still hear us. He was on a boat before. Technology is getting fantastic. He was podcasting from a boat. So shout out to Ghost. I don't know if Ghost in the Shell can hear us, but shout out to Ghost. I'll plug him anyways. It's at Ghost in a Garage. I like how he's in a shell here. It's at Ghost in a Garage over on X. Go over and follow him over there. The great Dbatch. D, thank you for being here, buddy. I'm going to look real quick. D wrote me, Mooch, you got me for an hour. I literally kept him for 3 hours and 30 minutes. I mean, if you can't mooch like that, I know, D, I want you to send my sincerest apologies and gratitude to your family. D, let everybody know that where they can find you. And as always, thanks for being here tonight, buddy.
Yeah, man, it was great to be here. You can find me at D_Batch on X. You can find me at Dbatch on YouTube. Thanks for having me. For the guys out there that are upset that I'm jumping in, it's passionate. I try to be respectful to everyone that's there, and and at the end of the day, when we all get off the podcast, everything is cool. So it's not that serious, guys. It's just a debate. And when you got a bunch of alphas in a room together, this is what happens, man. This is what happens.
That is such a fact. I'm glad you said that, D. And I have to reiterate that again. D and everybody that comes on this show, which is why we call it Crossfire, is they come with passion and they come with their beliefs. And guess what? They are allowed to put that passion out there. And I for one, love it. So, and like D says, once the microphones are off, we're all hanging out anyways and BSing and playing games. Go ahead, D.
And let me ask you guys a question, since this was like a good test. How was this DJI mic Mini, man? Like, I was walking around the place. I went outside.
I thought it was D.
I put the noise canceling on.
So I will say this. So I'll put it in terms of microphone and mixers that you know. The sound quality of your voice, I think, is very good. I think it's very good, especially considering what the device is. The only thing I will say is once you start to talk, the noise gate opens, and you can tell that you are moving around. You can tell that you're not in a closed room. That's not a slight by no means, because I think if you did a video on it and the price is right, I'd pick it up. Now you might go, why would you pick it up, Mooch, when you have a Shure SM7B? The reason I would is because when I guest on other shows or something like that and I can be able to be on the move and it sounds that good for being on the move, that's pretty damn good, D. So I still think it's probably a decent to quality product.
Yeah, I was walking around, and here's the kicker: you can get one for as little as like $100, man.
That's cheap.
Like the receiver.
I'm very interested to see the makeup of it when you post either a video or some photos of it. I hope you do it soon.
Yeah, it's tiny. This is noise canceling. I think that's noise canceling. Yeah, that's noise canceling. And
well, Nib, what do you think? Nib, you heard my assessment. Do you agree with me, or did you think that?
No, I 100%. I think you're dead on. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, because it sounds his voice is very good, but you can just hear when the gate opens that even with the noise canceling. That, by the way, it did keep any background noise out. D, I do want to compliment it there. So if there was any horns or a car or somebody talking in the back, we didn't hear that.
Fireworks.
We didn't hear any fireworks. We did. We did hear your phone go off about 8 times, but that was about. Sorry, D. I had to throw that.
Good. You know, I always try and make this show longer, right?
Yes, you do, Nib. I can't wait. What are you going to say now? He's going to say something, and we'll have to talk about it until about 7 in the morning.
Yeah. I just wanted a temperature check on Death Stranding 2 because I think we're going to get reviews like maybe imminently, and the game comes out in a week.
I have my number in my head. I mean, it doesn't mean it.
What's the predictions?
I'm going to go with 92.
Okay, we'll allow a 3-point swing. What
oh wow, 3-point swing! You're the most gracious person that's ever asked me. Wow,
89 to 91, or 88 to 90. Yeah.
I think
this is hitting a 91, man. 91.
Yeah, this is definitely a 90. Plus, he sent this thing out like a month ago. I mean, people have been playing it. There's the deluxe edition. People can play 2 days early. I got to be honest with you. If it scores under a 90, I would be very surprised. And I haven't said that in a long time.
I mean,
PlayStation. I'm thinking of canceling my special edition. I was just looking at it. I was like, there's nothing in it really worth keeping. Why am I spending so much for it?
I didn't get the collector's edition with this. I didn't get that this time, but I am going to get the deluxe edition for the extra whatever it is, 10 or 20 for the extra 2 days because I want to stream it and I think that's worth it. But I will
say like the fact that they gave out review copies like a month plus in advance.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks early. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the embargo date is a week ahead of release. They usually only do that when they're really confident, like historically. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna do really well, but clearly they have a lot of confidence in the title. But there was one thing I read from Kojima that was a bit weird, and I feel like if Neil Druckmann had said that, people would have raked him over the coals.
Absolutely.
But he basically said in the playtesting, the response was too positive. People loved the game too much. So he went back and changed it to be more sort of
But
divisive.
So let me say something, Nib, and I don't know if you and D seen this show. Did you guys watch The Bear on I think it was on Prime.
Oh, amazing.
Prime. Yeah. Outstanding show. When you are Kojima, the one thing about Kojima that I find is as we go through gaming and we've gotten to know these people and read more and more over the past decade plus is, especially when he went independent, like he's an artist, and I would watch The Bear. If you guys, it's about a restaurant. It's a chef, and 5-star restaurant, etc. This and that. He went to work at like the French Laundry and things of that such for training, and then he has the degree. But you would see a beautifully crafted dish, and I'm talking about the way the portion is served, the plating. The way everything was, the even the sides, everything was just done such an elegance, and he would take the dish and throw it in the garbage. And I'm like, that dish looked amazing. Like, I mean, when I say amazing, I mean like you'd almost pay $1,000 for a plate, and he threw it in the garbage. So my point to you guys is with Kojima, the one thing I find fascinating, because you find all these different developers out there, and they're all so very different. Neil is not Kojima. Kojima is not Ken Levine, and on and on. They each have their unique way of bringing art to the screen. And when you say that, a lot of people were kind of down Nib on Kojima for that article and that quote. But I read that and I was like, well, he's an artist, so he doesn't want people to think this is like the next Borderlands 4. Like, wow, everyone loves Borderlands 4. I mean, I can't wait to play Borderlands 4, but like, he doesn't want that. You know what I mean? I think he wants some resistance. He wants to say, I've made something is polarizing where you're not all supposed to love it. So I kind of get it.
I do think he might have meant from a story perspective, though, not necessarily gameplay.
Story.
I think he meant like he doesn't want everyone to agree with the same ending, sort of thing.
Right?
Like one of the beauties of whether it's a Red Dead or a Last of Us or whatever is, did Joel make the right decision?
That's right.
I don't agree. Blah blah blah. You're not a parent. This that.
Right.
And with friggin' Abby, there was like literally years and years of bloody arguments. And that is kind of really interesting, and the perceptions and the takes of the gaming and everything and the story is really fascinating. So I can kind of understand it. If he meant it from a gameplay perspective, I would raise an eyebrow. If he means it from a story perspective, I totally get it. Like you want something a bit abrasive that draws emotion out of you. That's not just monotone.
Not that Kojima is listening at all, but and it's way too late because the game comes out on Tuesday, unofficially. But I really hope there's less rocks on these planets, or in this world that he creates for Death Stranding 2. My God, it is just like that's the only thing. Like they give you these great like trike bikes and things like that in this world, but like I'm running through the director's cut right now. I'm not gonna be able to finish it by Tuesday. I've played through the original one, but I wanted to play through the director's cut, and I'm moving as fast as I can, and I'm enjoying every bit of it, just because I also wanted to get the mechanics down. But it is, there's something. It is one of the most simple and yet so at times frustrating games, and I think that's what Kojima. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys played it. But
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's such a reward to when you get to the stations and you drop off those things. You almost feel like with the frustration of the way that the land is, and of course the fight with the BTs, and then there's the mule posts, and there's just and then there's also just the environment, and sometimes you can lose all your stuff. You have to go get it.
I know. It was such a weird experience.
Nib will be right back.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yep, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was such a weird experience because there would be times where like it would be the most calming and serene game I've like played in years. And then within a space of a short few minutes or hours or whatever, it could become the most stressful thing. Like, oh crap, like my shit is deteriorating. There's this waterfall current or whatever. I'm almost dropping all my gear and this, and now there's BTs chasing me or whatever. Like, like within a short moment's time, it could turn so stressful.
So stressful.
And I don't know. It was kind of a weird. It was a really interesting dynamic, but it made it unique and it made it compelling. So that was cool. I'm really interested to see how the second one.
I'm excited about how they. I also like that. I like when certain developers go out and grab some talent like this, like the amount of talent. Like that's what I loved about the talent that they had in Expedition 33. I mean, everything from the music score to the acting to the brilliant artwork. When you put something like that together, remember, guys, anyone that's listening, there's a lot of people that are going to listen to this now. They're listening now or listen later. By the way, please hit that like button. There's 247 still here after almost 4 hours. Please, guys, hit that like button. You can make a difference. You can make a difference by hitting that like button right now. But you only get games like this every so often. You know what I mean? And it's an experience because it's a talking point. There's different, like you just said with Joel Miller, right? Did he do the right thing? Did he not? Did Abby, come in the way that she came in? Do you understand where she's coming from and how she kind of grew to understand where Ellie was? Those are things that just don't happen in a day-to-day. The same thing would happen with BioShock Infinite, right? So there's a few people out there that make games that I think are, they are developers. Yes, Kojima is a developer, but he's an artist. And I don't know. For some reason, I really look forward to these types of games because I want to have a discussion with somebody that says they loved it or they hated it. I don't care if you didn't like it. I still want to talk to you about it.
I mean, like to as I was saying, like he's kind of like a gaming auteur, but like if you think about it, this guy, so many of the storylines and narrative threads he's had in his games have come to reality or come to fruition. So many of them, and sometimes it's eerie. It's like, even Death Stranding to a sense with like COVID and everything. What happened. There's a lot of that kind of leaked into the kind of game, I guess. And I agree with you. To me, it's almost like an indie game with a AAA budget. Like it's a passion project, a creative passion project, and it has no right really being a AAA game, but it is, even though it's so quirky and so, And the other thing I'm really excited about it is that it's a Decima engine game, but PS5 only.
Yes.
We're finally getting to that stage now where we're going to see the muscles flexed, like already the stuff I've seen from the game.
We saw a taste of that with the Burning Shores DLC, did we not?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So
Unreal,
I mean,
yeah.
that's a really, really cool. That's a great point. But this is a full-fledged game, and this has had time,
Exactly.
as people would say, this has had time to cook. So
Exactly.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
I'm starving.
I mean, some of the, I saw the opening trailer. He showed like on one of the streams. He showed like
Yes.
the opening.
Yes.
And someone posted screenshots from it on Twitter, and I was like, "There's no way that is a game like that." That I was analyzing the photos up close, and I'm like, "That's their photos. They're real." And then I went, and it was the game.
It is the game.
And then I realized when I watched the trailer back, you can see like there's aspects of game stuff in there, like the creatures or like the bugs and stuff. They're from the game world, and I'm like, oh my god, like is he just doing trickery, and did he mix like real photos with game, or is it literally just a game? And it's so weird that I'm even having that conversation. But yeah, it looks unreal. Anyway, but I will just say one thing: when you get off here, check out. It just dropped this new Chinese game called Blood Message. They've just by NetEase. They've just dropped the trailer. Looks incredible. Like
Is that-
it's like another Black Myth Wukong.
Oh, I'm looking right now, looking up here in the chat. Lunchi Sky, shout out to Lunchi. I don't know if Lunchi's still here. Lunchi said, Mooch, something just dropped. I didn't see that name, unless I missed something. Maybe I totally missed it. But
Blood Message.
Okay, I will definitely check it out.
Driven linear action adventure single player game from NetEase.
Okay. I will check it out. Shout out to Lucci Sky also for the shout out on that earlier. Glassdoor Gamer says, for a better Windows, you need a new kernel. No way.
Oh.
Well.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But thank you, Glassdoor. I appreciate that. Nib, let the people know where they can find you, and then I'll give shout outs to the folks that had to leave early.
Yeah, it's just XNIB95_.
Appreciate you as always, Nib. Guys, go over and follow Nib. I gotta be honest with you. If you're on X and you're not following Nib, just don't be on X. Nib is where it's at. Shout out to Nib for being here and the great Dbatch for staying the whole 3.5 hours. Death Singer left early, but not really that early. Still stayed for 3+ hours. Go over and check out Death Singer. It's at @I_Death Singer_I. I believe I'm saying that right. Shout out to Ghost again. That's at Ghost in the Garage. Brap couldn't make it tonight. Coach, as you guys know him, he's out there coaching everybody out there at Brap_podcast. Lord Metroid at Lord Metroid X. Appreciate that. The Wise Old Gamer had to go early, but we love Wise at Wise Old Gamer. Go over and check out Wasted with Wise tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. And of course, the great Crap Gamer. That's _Crap Gamer on X or Crap Gamer Reviews over on YouTube. Guys, again, please, right from here, hit the like button. From that point, go over to Twitch. Mooch TV, M00CHTV, takes 2 seconds. Hit that follow button. I'll see my phone blow up with the whole 231 of you that did that. We're going to be talking games. We're going to be playing games. It's a lot of fun. People are going to be popping in. I do things different on Twitch. I love what other people do, but I do things a little bit different. I like the game. I like to talk. Got the whole scenario. We get into everything, and the audience is really engaged. The same way you guys are engaged here is what we do over there. It's a lot of fun. This is going to be my kickoff. I said May. It was June. Remember I said May 1st is when we're going to kick it off. We've done a couple test streams, but we're really going to be kicking it off next week. Shout out to the producer as well. I appreciate that. Thank you, Eric, the producer. Guys, you're all fantastic. We'll see you next Thursday as well, 7 p.m. Eastern, with a great panel. We already got a great bunch of people already set up for the show. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry, Mooch. I always forget we're doing a